Emo didn't need to chase to know that woman was the fisherman the immortal goddess sacred sect sent. Seeing he wasn't easy to mess with, she left. He didn't have the time and power to deal with the immortal goddess sacred sect now, but eventually, he would erase that sect. That immortal emperor immortal goddess came back to her senses and a little life force appeared in her eyes. She was shocked how an immortal emperor dared to be rude to a Tao actualization divine emperor, but when the Tao actualization divine emperor finally died, she realized why. Immortal goddess sacred sect Banyan greet Qianbei. Thank you for saving my life, this immortal goddess quickly said. Emo smiled. I'm not saving you. I have no good impression of the immortal goddess sacred sect. How can I save you? You can say you're just a bit lucky. This Banyan didn't argue and said, Is Qianbei St. Xiaoyun's Tao partner Emo? I am. Emo said calmly. Banyan took off the Ju sinew from her neck and gave it to Emo. This is a sacred object that the Saint Qing used to wear. Please give this to Xiaoyun. She's the saint. Only she can wear this. Emo took it and immediately knew this thing wasn't ordinary. It had a faint Tao wave qi and this sacred and holy qi. What are you going to do when you go back? Emo subconsciously asked. Banyan laughed. The sect is no longer the sect from before. I'm no longer an immortal goddess. I'm going. Farewell Qianbei. Then Banyan turned to leave. Clearly she wasn't planning on going back to the immortal goddess sacred sect. What the sect did hurt her respect towards the sect. Wait! Emo stopped her and gave the storage ring he robbed over. You can have this, hope you reach Tao vindication soon. Banyan dazed and quickly said, Qianbei. This is too precious. Wanbei can't take it. She saw with her own eyes Emo take the storage ring from the Great Sun God Mountain Tao artifact Divine Emperor Peak. Emo gave the storage ring to her and said, You deserve this. Good luck. Then Emo disappeared, leaving behind a dazed Banyan. After a while, Banyan released her flying magic artifact and disappeared too. Emo knew this Ju sinew was precious. 100 times more precious than the storage ring he gave over. In an ordinary valley a million km from the immortal goddess sacred sect, Emo entered the golden page world again. Mu Xiaoyun was still asleep. Emo took out the soul lamp. Emo was furious seeing this soul lamp again. Clearly, it didn't need one soul to be lit. Just a sliver of spirit will was needed. That bastard sect leader took half Xiaoyun's soul. Even if he killed her, Emo couldn't vent his hate. The next moment, Emo grabbed that soul and sent it into Xiaoyun's essence spirit. With this, her essence spirit immediately became more real. Emo was about to crush the soul map, but he found that even if he used force, he couldn't crush it. Emo was very annoyed and threw the soul lamp onto Blue like morning sky. Little Blue, melt this lamp and get ready to forge my Zisu. Iya! Little Blue made an excited sound. Emo was a restriction and formation master, so the restrictions on Mu Xiaoyun couldn't trouble him. In a short time, Emo completely removed her restrictions. Mu Xiaoyun felt this steadiness. It was as though something missing from her came back. Her face was brighter than before and her consciousness clearer. When she opened her eyes and saw Emo appear before her. However, her reaction wasn't surprise and joy. Instead, her eyes went red. If I knew earlier than dying would let me see you, I would have long come. Mu Xiaoyun reached out her hand and wanted to touch Emo's face. Her heart was filled with agony. She could die, but she didn't want Emo to die. She had a sliver of hope, and that was Emo didn't die in the life-crippling river. But now that she saw Emo, clearly it was because Emo died. She killed herself. Emo immediately realized what she meant. She definitely tried to suicide but was sealed by Ji. Luckily Ji did that or Xiaoyun would have really died. Emo sat next to her and embraced her. Xiaoyun. Don't worry, we're not dead. I took you out of the immortal goddess sacred sect. You'll be fine from now on. Ha! Mu Xiaoyun's hands suddenly stopped. She used her spirit sense and immediately realized that she really didn't die. Not only that, her soul became whole again. Husband? Mu Xiaoyun said shakily, not daring to believe this was real. We're really not dead? She realized this was reality. Neither of them were dead. This inexpressible joy in her heart made her unable to speak. Whimper. Mu Xiaoyun could no longer control the joy and excitement in her heart. She just hugged Emo and completely forgot about everything else. After a long while, Mu Xiaoyun calmed down and kept asking if Yemo's was hurt or threatened by the immortal goddess sacred sect. After Yemo said he and her master were fine, she finally calmed down and began to recount her story ever since she was forced by Elder Feng of Ice Lake. Mu Xiaoyun, who rarely spoke, finally spoke her many years of story. Time flows slowly like this. Most of the time, it was Mu Xiaoyun speaking and Yemo listening. Hearing this, Yemo felt for the first time that life was full even when he wasn't cultivating. Great Sun God Mountain. Although they weren't very famous in the divine Tao realm these years, it didn't mean that their power wasn't strong. When their sect formation opened, instant second force was no weaker than the immortal goddess sacred sect. In some places, it even surpassed the immortal goddess sacred sect. The immortal goddess sacred sect dares to kill our great Sun God Mountain Tao actualization divine emperor. In the main palace of the great Sun God Mountain, an elder rose up. At the same time, the atmosphere in the immortal goddess sacred sect was dense. When Yemo didn't have conflict with the great Sun God Mountain, they tried everything for the two to fight, but now that Yemo really killed the Tao actualization divine emperor of the great Sun God Mountain, the immortal goddess sacred sect fell silent. Rurong, recount precisely how Yemo killed great Sun God Mountain Tao actualization divine emperor Yang Pa. Are you certain he used golden bow of divine extermination? Ji said slowly. A blue-robed Tao actualization divine emperor said seriously. I'm certain I saw it right. It was definitely the golden bow of divine extermination. He killed Yang Pa with 2 arrows. Not only that, he used great primordial god rune to heavily injure Yang Pa first. He even used time law god art. However, my spirit sense was blocked by his domain and couldn't see inside. Great primordial god rune. Time law and golden bow of divine extermination, as well as lightning sea god orbs, space god art. Ji took in a cold breath. She suddenly felt that she made a mistake making Mu Xiaoyun the saint. As soon as someone like Yemo became a Tao essence divine emperor, who would be a match for him in the divine Tao realm, offending such a person pretty much meant you needed to get ready to be annihilated. If the great Sun God Mountain needed to think about all sorts of factors when annihilating the immortal goddess sacred sect, then Yemo could do anything as he was just by himself. Is Ruoshi back? Ji suddenly woke up. She said before Yemo was scary, but she didn't have any direct impression of this. Now she finally felt it. Luckily, the sect has been sealed. Master, I'm back. Jishi's voice sounded at the door of the palace. She was sighing. Ever since the sect leader was injured, she didn't seem to be able to focus, or she would have known of her arrival. Jishi said, Xiaoyun had been taken by Yemo. Taken away? Ji repeated but then nodded. That's all right, what shall come eventually will come. Xiaoyun. I'll help you wear this. Yemo took out the Zhu Xinyu. Mu Xiaoyun just wanted to say that she was already wearing a necklace and it was the one Yemo gave her, but then she saw the Zhu Xinyu. As the saint, she hadn't seen it, but she knew it belonged to Saint Qing. She immediately said in shock, husband, this is the sacred sex Zhu Xinyu. It belongs to Saint Qing. How is it in your hands? Yemo laughed. The immortal goddess sacred sect dares to use you to sacrifice to the great Sun God Mountain. This Zhu Xinyu can be compensation. But, Mu Xiaoyun knew this thing wasn't ordinary, but she didn't know what else to say. In her subconsciousness, she felt that nothing her husband did was wrong. Just wear it. Yemo stopped her hesitation. MHM. Mu Xiaoyun said nothing. Listening to her husband wouldn't be wrong. After Mu Xiaoyun wore the Zhu Xinyu, she immediately felt this extremely satisfied feeling, as though all the impurities in her body dissipated. Her essence spirit was being refined and her understanding of the world was becoming clearer. This is good indeed. Yemo sighed. Mu Xiaoyun said nothing, but he felt what Mu Xiaoyun felt through her hand. What is this place? Mu Xiaoyun asked. This is my world at the Bei Zi Mountain, Yemo said. When he fused the Golden Page world and went unconscious, he stayed with Mu Xiaoyun, and it was at that time that Mu Xiaoyun truly became his wife. Yemo grabbed the red-faced Xiaoyun and suddenly thought if he should build a place in the Golden Page world. Regardless, talking was unnecessary now. A day later, Mu Xiaoyun stood outside Qi Wanqing's palace and asked sadly, "Husband, is this where Sister Wanqing stays?" Yimo's eyes went dim. "Yes, Wanqing lives inside. I didn't take her seriously and let her roam the Xinqiang continent alone. I owe her. Husband, although she's gone, she definitely won't blame you. I've never seen her, but I feel I'm so much luckier than her. I can still see you and be together with you," Mu Xiaoyun said. "Xiaoyun, I have a time formation disk. I'm in Dao Vindication, so I don't need it much. You can use it. Just stay inside and cultivate. With your talent, you will soon be able to catch up to me," Emo said. Mu Xiaoyun fell silent and looked down. "What's wrong?" Emo grabbed her hand and asked. Mu Xiaoyun had always been very obedient, and she would never argue against anything he said. "Husband, I want to leave a child for you. I don't want to cultivate anymore," Mu Xiaoyun said. She was scared of separating with Emo again. Emo touched her hair and sighed. "Xiaoyun, once we get back to the immortal realm, we'll have a child. Then, Qingxue and Susu would be here too. We would have many children." "Emicham, where do we go now?" "Changfei Divine Dao City," Emo answered. He needed to deal with Suyu Divine Dao things there, and then find the way towards the immortal realm and seal it again. As for getting revenge from the immortal goddess sacred sect and great sun god mountain, Emo really wanted to do it, but he didn't have the power now. "My master and martial sister Bue are still at the immortal goddess sacred sect. I want to message them and tell them I'm with you." Mu Xiaoyun thought of Luo Bue. Whether it was in the immortal realm or other places, Luo Bue helped her greatly. "Don't worry. When I left the immortal goddess sacred sect, I saw your master take a disciple and leave the sect. If I'm not wrong, she's probably your martial sister Luo Bue," Emo said. Mu Xiaoyun said heavily, "It's probably because my master is disappointed in the immortal goddess sacred sect. She knew things wasn't like that, and her master left the sect probably due to the sect leader kicking her out." Emo knew what she meant and comforted her. "There's no point staying in a hypocritical sect like the immortal goddess sacred sect. We'll go to the MOU immortal sect. It's much better than the immortal goddess sacred sect." In the Changfei Divine Dao City, Lei Yuehe and Zhu Wenmao status was very high, and there was Shan Yingyao to help. They didn't dare to be careless though. Emo left clearly to start trouble with the immortal goddess sacred sect. Now that Emo wasn't back, who knew what the results were? In an immortal rest tower, Zhu Wenmao and Lei Yuehe were waiting for Emo. "If something happens to Brother Yi, we wouldn't be able to get away too," Zhu Wenmao sighed. At this moment, Lei Yuehe comforted Zhu Wenmao. "Brother Wenmao, it's because that Brother Yi helped us that we're married. If anything happens, we can die together. There's no regret." Zhu Wenmao nodded. "I just want to rebuild the Suyu Divine Dao. If I can do that, then I have no regret in death." Lei Yuehe sighed and just wanted to talk when she heard a coarse voice. "Who wants to rebuild the Suyu Divine Dao? Who dares to?" The entire tower heard this voice. Zhu Wenmao and Lei Yuehe were shook. They subconsciously got up. They set up sound barrier restriction, but people still heard them. They saw a square-faced, dark-skinned man walk over. "You too want to rebuild Suyu Divine Dao?" He sneered in contempt. Zhu Wenmao stared at this man for a long time before asking with uncertainty, "May I ask if Qian Bei's surname is Lu? Are you a Dao essence ancestor of my Suyu Divine Dao?" I didn't expect someone can recognize me, Lu Zhong? When I came back, I found the sect had been annihilated for countless years. You say you're a sect members of Suyu Divine Dao? Does my sect have sect members as weak as you?" The man asked in shock. Zhu Wenmao bowed in surprise and joy and said, "Wanbei Zhu Wenmao greet Lu Zhong, sect master. When martial ancestor Lu left the sect, Wanbei was only an immortal monarch. Then my body was destroyed, and with the help of my Dao partner, I was able to find something to rebuild my body and cultivate back to immortal emperor. I'm really ashamed. This place is pitiful." Mu Xiaoyun stood on the space-time boat and sighed. The places she passed was filled with ravines and space fissures. Because they're too selfish. Emo looked below the space-time boat and shook his head at the shattered landscape. From how the immortal goddess sacred sect and great sun god mountain did things, It was clear that these divine emperors were all extremely selfish. If he was going to fight, he would definitely not fight at the divine Dao realm. He would go to the void. Otherwise, no matter how stable the divine Dao realm laws and space were, it would be broken by primordial essence divine emperor. Nearing the Changfei divine Dao city, Mu Xiaoyun's mood finally got better. The space and land here was more normal. Husband. Our world would be more lively if we get some immortal spirit beasts in. Mu Xiaoyun thought of the Golden Page world. Compared to outside, the Golden Page world was heaven. Emo thought of Shadowless and Small Ginseng and laughed. There are a few guys inside, but they hid to somewhere else after knowing you came here. There are many immortal spirit beasts inside, but I just haven't gotten them out yet. Emo was talking about the world he got from the purple-robed man. That world was just below the five-element world. There were all sorts of immortal spirit beasts and immortal spirit herbs inside. There was a portal from that world to his Golden Page world. Small Ginseng often needed to go over to find some immortal spirit herb for winemaking. Because Small Ginseng was fast, but he wasn't strong. He was often chased everywhere by the immortal spirit beasts inside. This pissed off Shadowless, and so Shadowless went in and taught them a lesson. Now they're the big boss of that world. Then let me go see, Mu Xiaoyun said. Mu Xiaoyun knew that she was too weak and would be frequently staying in the Golden Page world. It was necessary to get on good terms with those small guys. Emo pointed ahead and laughed. Changfei Divine Dao City is there. We'll go there first. You can go in the world whenever you want. Yi Qian Bei. Brother Yi. As soon as the two landed from the space-time boat, they saw people coming to greet at the city gates. Brother Yi. I'm Zhu Dragon God Tower Su Mao. A yellow-bearded man squeezed a smile and came to the front. Zhu Dragon God Tower? I seem to have heard of this. I heard that they were keeping a wild dragon in the city, but I seem to have taken that dragon away. By the way, the Zhu Dragon God Tower seemed to have sent someone after me, but I slaughtered him. Emo said coldly. He hadn't even gone to find them yet, but they came first. This yellow-bearded man's face went pale. He was a mere Dao molding divine emperor. Compared to the immortal goddess sacred sect Dao nourishment divine emperor Yunhui, he was countless times weaker. Emo would kill people from the immortal goddess sacred sect without concern. Killing him was even easier. Qian Bei, this is a misunderstanding. I came this time just to apologize to Qian Bei. These things are nothing, but if Qian Bei have some orders, just tell me. Su Mao said. Emo just wanted to let Qiu Rang come out and get revenge when he felt a powerful spirit sense scan over his body, and there was even a sneer. Emo was shook. He had only seen this powerful spirit sense in Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect and people like Xikongshan and Gongyang, and only Dao Essence Divine Emperor had such powerful spirit sense. This spirit sense was stronger than all the Dao Essence Divine Emperor he had seen. Was there a Dao Essence Divine Emperor at the city? As though to prove Yemo's guess, this spirit sense landed on Yemo again, seemingly contemptuous. Yemo put away Su Mao's storage ring and waved his hand, move away. Yes. Su Mao saw Yemo take the storage ring and his worried heart finally rested. He didn't dare to ask anything and quickly moved to the side. Taking Mu Xiaoyun into the city, Yemo's spirit sense immediately saw Lei Yuehe and Zhu Wenmao. He saw a dark-faced, middle-aged man sitting next to them. Emo immediately knew this was the person who scanned him with spirit sense. You want to rebuild Suyu Divine Dao? This Dao Essence Divine Emperor sneered, and his powerful force rushed at Emo. Yemo's face changed. He released his spirit sense domain and Divine Emperor domain out without hesitation. Thud. A powerful force exploded, and this immortal rest tower turned to pieces. Emo retreated 50 meters before stopping. What's the meaning of this? Emo's fury instantly shot up. If he was alone, he wouldn't care, but if he didn't use Spirit Sense Domain to protect Xiaoyun, she would be immediately torn to pieces. Not bad, you can stop my Emperor Domain charge. You have some power. You said you're friends with martial ancestor Yuebwa? The Dao Essence Divine Emperor said with seriousness. If he was alone, Emo would have exploded already, but Xiaoyun was here, and so he couldn't attack. He knew that he was no match for this Dao Essence Divine Emperor. Even if he was to instant transmission out of his attack, it would be risky. I'm asking you a question. Did you hear it? This Tao Essence Divine Emperor's tone became serious and his force rose again. Emo sighed. He couldn't send Xiaoyun into the Golden Page world here unless he wanted to expose his Golden Page world. Emo suppressed his anger and said slowly, "That's right. I got a jade slip from Duanmuebwa. It said that if I can rebuild the Suyu Divine Tao, I will get a great fortune once it's done." The Tao Essence Divine Emperor's eyes shot out with golden beam, and he asked desperately, "Did you get a bead called Dark Lightning Bead?" "No," Emo answered. He got the bead. He was planning to give it back to the Shueyu Divine Tao Zhu Wenmao after he rebuilt it, but he had given up this thought. You dare to lie to me. I will crush your soul." The Tao Essence Divine Emperor's voice grew serious. Emo laughed. "You want to crush me, soul? Then try. You're just a mere Tao Essence Divine Emperor. You're asking to die." The Tao Essence Divine Emperor was about to attack immediately. Zhu Wenmao quickly stopped in front and bowed. "Grand Elder. Brother Yi has saved our lives and has always been helping our sect. Please appease your anger." The Tao Essence Divine Emperor sneered, "Seeing that you're helping build our sect, I'll let you go this time for disrespecting me. After the sect is rebuilt, I'll come deal with you." "Sorry, I no longer plan to rebuild this sect. Wenmao, Yuaha, goodbye." Emo took Mu Xiaoyun and disappeared from this immortal rest tower. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor's face was green. Just when he wanted to hunt Emo, Zhu Wenmao quickly said, "Sect leader, I'll be responsible for rebuilding the sect. I'll definitely rebuild it completely so that Grand Elder would be happy." Count yourself lucky." The Tao Essence Divine Emperor sneered at the direction Emo left. As soon as Emo left the city, he sent Mu Xiaoyun into the Golden Page world and was ready to fight with this cocky Tao Essence Divine Emperor. However, this Tao Essence Divine Emperor didn't chase out. He thought about it and knew that it was Zhu Wenmao and Lei Yuehe begging for mercy. He didn't have the obligation to build the sect for them. Today, a Tao Essence Divine Emperor was this cocky. This made Emo want to reach Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor more desperately. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor of Suyu Divine Tao was back. Great Sun God Mountain and Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect immediately got news of this. Great Sun God Mountain, who was about to conquer Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, immediately stopped. Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect heard of this and breathed easy too. They knew that Great Sun God Mountain wouldn't fight Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect for now. The space-time Bao traveled in the Divine Tao realm, but Emo didn't have an approximate direction too. He first came to this Changfei Divine Tao city because he was teleported to Suyu Divine Tao. Suyu Divine Tao was extremely far from Muhua God Mountain. Even an ordinary Divine Emperor would need a few decades to travel. Emo knew that it wasn't easy for even him to get back to that place. Unless he had a safe and hidden teleportation formation like those big sects, otherwise it was impossible for him to go back there in the short term. Emo gave the space-time boat to Qiu Rang and Shadowless to control while he and Mu Xiaoyun went inside the Golden Page world. Mu Xiaoyun knew her cultivation level was too weak and that if she wanted to help Emo, she would have to hurry up and get stronger. After going in the Golden Page world, Mu Xiaoyun immediately went inside the time formation disk. With Yemo's teaching and all sorts of pills and God Spirit range, Mu Xiaoyun progressed extremely fast. Emo started to go into solitary cultivation too. Little Blue was melting the soul lamp, but it melted the murder Tao spear very slowly. Emo knew that although his flame was the #1 flame of the immortal realm, it was still a bit low level to melt something like this. Zisu couldn't be upgraded, and this made Emo unhappy with Ji-Shi even more. This woman owed him a gourd, but he still hasn't seen it yet. To Emo, it seemed that this woman wanted to cheat. He went to save Xiaoyun at the time and didn't ask her about this. Seeing Little Blue still needs some time, Emo took out the chain he got from the depth of the prison door mountain and the 4 white bones. The chains were still very mysterious and Emo couldn't scan his spirit sense in. When he took it, he only took the part that was exposed. He couldn't take away the part buried underground and didn't want to take it. The main reason he took the chains were due to the white bones. The bones gave him an extremely familiar feeling. It was inexpressible but real. The chains had no restrictions, but they were shockingly tough. Emo had to use Golden Bow of Divine Extermination to shoot 6 arrows before barely opening them. Now that he had enough time, he used half a month to spirit control the chains and take out the bones. After spirit controlling the chains, Emo realized that they were made with Heaven Luo metal essence. They were the best materials that could be used to make the best god artifact. Emo set aside the Heaven Luo metal essence and checked the white bones with his spirit sense. Emo caught messages inside the bones. After a long while, Emo's spirit sense moved away from the bone. The message from the bones were messy, but Emo organized it. The person was called Yuan Ruatio. She was the 73rd saint of the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect and was locked in there due to losing her virginity and was pregnant. She had a loyal maid called Yuan Huiyun. Because Yuan Ruatio was the saint, Yuan Huiyun could still come look after her. Yuan Ruatio gave birth to a girl called Yuan Jun. Yuan Ruatio forced Yuan Huiyun to take away Yuan Jun. It didn't say where, but they just knew Yuan Ruatio pointed Yuan Huiyun to go to a very far place and might never come back. Emo sighed. He subtly felt that Yuan Ruatio was related to his past life. There was no evidence nor reason, just a feeling. Emo made a jade box and put the bones inside and set up a tombstone in the Golden Page world. Time passed quickly. Emo cultivated in the Golden Page world for 10 years. His essence chi was more condensed and god arts more proficient. His great primordial god rune seemed to have an extra shadow. His formation skills were much stronger than before. The only thing that didn't increase was his cultivation level. He seemed to be stuck at Dao molding Divine Emperor. Emo wasn't very worried. He knew that at his level, if he wanted to progress, it couldn't come with cultivation resources and using the time formation disk. He needed to learn the world laws and learn life. Meanwhile, Mu Xiaoyun was already an immortal king in the time formation disk. She was an immortal king tertiary stage. This was Emo letting her slow down, or she would have had her immortal monarch divine damnation already. Emo left the Golden Page world and chatted with Shadowless, Qiu Rang and Small Ginseng. Shadowless was urging Qiu Rang to find the path to the dragon race, but Qiu Rang didn't know the way himself. We'll wait about going to the dragon race. Let's go find a populous place to live for a while, Emo said. Shadowless immediately chose a direction, and in just one day, there started to be less space fissures and ravines in the ground. Another 2 days later, there were no more space fissures and they flew faster and faster. After feeling the dense god spirit chi around him, Emo's spirit sense scanned a huge divine Dao city. It was even bigger than Changfei Divine Dao City and was more populated too. At the city gate, there was the huge golden banner Luanlan Divine Dao City. Many immortals went in and out. Emo even saw a few Dao molding divine emperors. Emo let Small Ginseng and Shadowless enter the Golden Page world and landed at the city gates with Qiu Rang. Qiu Rang was a dragon, but his chi had been stealthed by Emo. The city was filled with stalls and shops. Emo wanted to find a place to stay and then seek the opportunity to reach Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. When Emo saw on the main street that a shop was being sold, Emo immediately changed his mind. Instead of renting a cultivation home, why not go buy a shop? To him, the most important thing wasn't to spend time to cultivate, but spend time to learn Dao and collected God spirit items. It's this cheap? A shop like this in Changfei Divine Dao City would cost at least 2 million God crystals, but here it only costs 500k. Qiu Rang said. Emo felt this shop was cheap too. It wasn't small and had a backyard. There were 2 levels too. How could it only be 500k God crystals? Immortal friend, do you want to buy this shop? An immortal monarch man smiled and saluted with his fists to Emo. Emo nodded. Indeed, but this price. Emo stopped. Seeing this, the immortal monarch Quick Wi said, no wonder immortal friend is confused. This shop is worth 2 million, but because the owner left the city and doesn't have time to wait here, so he's selling it for a cheap price. Emo sneered. Who was he tricking? 500k. If there was no problem with it, this shop would have long been bought away. But Emo wasn't scared. You might have misunderstood me. Emo laughed. I'm saying this price is too high, not too low. You're really interesting. Which buyer would say that the price is too low? The immortal monarch was shocked, but he reacted quickly and said, "Then 450k god crystals will do, no lower." EMO couldn't be bothered arguing about the price and threw out a storage bag. "This is 450k god crystals. Give me the ownership pact." The immortal monarch took the bag without hesitation and gave EMO a pact and left immediately. "Boss, why do I feel that we're suffering a loss?" Cho Rang said. There were people on the side shaking their heads. "I feel like we're suffering a loss too, but we've already paid the god crystals, so we can only move in." EMO agreed. Many people heard this and shook their heads, but no one came up to say anything. "There's a formation in front." Cho Rang charged in the shop but was bounced back. Even Dao molding divine emperors who weren't experienced in formation wouldn't be able to see this defense formation. Everyone saw Cho Rang was blocked and didn't show any shock. EMO already saw there was this defense formation. He was also thinking about why there would be a stealth defense formation, but he didn't care. Since this shop was his, he could remove it at any time. Now that Cho Rang was blocked, EMO realized he was tricked. "Immortal friend, you must not touch this formation. If you do, you must." One immortal emperor primary stage who couldn't take it anymore said, "Humph, who's talking shit?" A sneer sounded and a man appeared before the immortal emperor. No one saw where he came from. The immortal emperor's face changed and was about to leave. "You want to leave? You just rammed my formation and startled my immortal pet. You want to leave like that?" The man said again. The immortal emperor's face looked bad and he quickly said, "I didn't touch your formation." The man sneered and interrupted. "Then who did it? Point it out and I'll go easy on you." "The king did. What are you going to do?" "My boss bought this shop." "Did you set up the formation in front of our shop?" "If it's you, then good. I was looking for someone to compensate me." Cho Rang learned a loud mouth after being with Shadowless. He heard that boss dared to call himself king in front of immortal emperors when he was only an immortal king. Now that he did this, he felt very satisfied. "Ha ha ha ha, a mere immortal king." The man was so angry he laughed. "Did you guys set up the stealth defense formation in this shop?" EMO finally realized why there was a 3-foot small bear in the formation. EMO raised Zisu and sliced. This stealth formation was immediately torn to pieces. Cho Rang grabbed that bear. The small bear was about to dash out, but after just a few steps it was caught by Cho Rang. "You dare to break the young castle master's formation, you?" The man pointed at EMO in shock. "Piss off." EMO slapped. Although this man was also immortal emperor cultivation level, he was slapped away a few hundred meters. People saw there was fighting going on and immediately moved away. Before the man got up, he found that all his meridians had been broken with this slap. How could the man not know he met someone tough? He immediately crawled up and didn't dare to say a word before running off. The people on the streets didn't dare to come near Yemo's shop, but more and more people gathered, clearly knowing there was a show to watch soon. EMO knew this shop wouldn't be simple. He let Cho Rang go inside to organize the shop while he set up the formation again. However, EMO was bewildered that even when he fixed the formation, no one came. EMO wrote the words "Luo Yu Pill Forgery Divine Tower" and took out a pile of pills and magic artifact for Cho Rang to lay. The main purpose of this place was to forge top-level immortal artifact and immortal pill for others. Of course, he would take god art orders too. EMO was an outsider and offended people he shouldn't have. No one expected EMO to stay well here. But Yemo's shop's name was too shocking. There were pill towers and forgery towers in the city, and both of them combined. But their power was absurd. They had a bunch of immortal pill grandmasters and even divine pill masters. But even so, they only named themselves pill towers, not divine towers. There was no way there was high-level pill divines. Even the worst pill divine couldn't come to a place like this city. Yemo's name shocked everyone. When they saw that there really was low-grade god art and even low-grade god pills, everyone was shocked. This shop that suddenly appeared sold better pills than the best pill towers in the city. From this, one could see that Luo Yu must have a pill divine. Immediately, everyone took note of this place. When god pill and god arts appeared, they used their savings without hesitation to buy. They were scared someone would come to this place to look for trouble and this place would no longer exist. Emo called out Shadowless too, and on the first day of opening, they were happily busy. In one day, Emo collected many precious God Spirit items and even a few Dao Wave God fruits. They weren't Dao fruits, but it was still pretty good. May I ask if the owner is here? Xicheng Castle is here to visit. A loud voice sounded as a Dao molding divine emperor appeared in the shop. Hearing this voice, the immortals inside all disappeared in just a few seconds. I am, and you interrupted my business. Emo's tone went cold. The middle-aged man didn't seem to mind Emo's tone and laughed. Then I'll apologize to you. I'm Sun Hongyi. I'm just a messenger for Xicheng Castle. Our castle master has invited you to discuss things at the Xicheng Castle. What thing is your castle master? Does he deserve to invite me? Emo said plainly. To Emo, they were going to fight sooner or later. There was no point in acting nice. If he could beat them, then so be it. If not, he would leave the city. Sun Hongyi's face changed, but his manners were good. He just smiled. Our castle master is the ambassador for Great Sun God Mountain. He's not something. Since you want our castle master to come over, I shall bring the message to him. Emo frowned. The Great Sun God Mountain was everywhere. He had gone away so far, but he could still see their people. This definitely meant that Great Sun God Mountain had a hidden teleportation formation. He spent a decade to come here, but they could teleport here instantly. Other people were scared of the Great Sun God Mountain, but Emo wasn't. Seeing Sun Hongyi sneer there, Emo lifted his leg. Since you've brought your words, then piss off. Sun Hongyi thought that Emo was scared by his words. These few years, the Great Sun God Mountain was very powerful, but Emo still dared to tell him to piss off. Who was he? Or was Emo just an idiot? Seeing Emo kick over, Sun Hongyi couldn't contain his anger anymore. He was a Dao molding divine emperor and came to invite this immortal emperor, but this immortal emperor dared to be like this to him. His divine emperor domain was immediately about to expand, and he was about to kick back, but soon, his face changed. He found his domain was completely bound, and his leg only kicked halfway before Emo kicked his bones. There was a crack, and Sun Hongyi knew his leg broke. He resisted his shock and instantly disappeared. This person's power was far stronger than he had expected. He was even stronger than their castle master. Such a terrifying person had to hide his cultivation level to Immortal Emperor. He didn't come for that young castle master. He came because he heard there was god pills here and came on the order of the castle master. Just when Sun Hongyi left, another person came to the shop, Immortal Emperor middle stage, and didn't seem very old. Fu Fei, greet Tower Master. The Immortal Emperor bowed. Emo said slowly, you were watching on the side just then. What do you want? Wan Bei want to persuade Qian Bei to quickly leave the city. The Xicheng Castle has a Dao actualization divine emperor peak stage, and he's from the Great Sun God Mountain. The Great Sun God Mountain is very dominant, and the young castle master's hands are stained with blood. Every day, people die to him in the city. Fu Fei said genuinely, I don't know you. Why are you telling me this? Are you not scared the castle would get revenge on you? Fu Fei said hatefully, because the shop Qian Bei is at is a property of the Fu God Corner. It was passed to my master, but that young castle master used a ridiculous excuse to annihilate my master and everyone around him. I was a hidden disciple and thus was able to stay alive. I'm staying here to find an opportunity to kill him and leave. Emo suddenly bound Fu Fei's voice. His spirit sense saw a Dao actualization divine emperor coming over. Dong'an came just to invite Tower Master to come to my Xicheng Castle. My men was very rude. Please forgive them. A long-bearded man appeared at Emo's shop. His tone was nice and calm like a Wan Bei talking to Qian Bei. He was indeed a Dao actualization divine emperor peak stage. If he had the chance, he would be able to reach Dao essence divine emperor at any time. Emo was studying Dong'an, but Dong'an was also studying Emo. Emo wasn't here for long, but he had gotten too many news. Each news pointed that this Tower Master wasn't simple, whether it was injuring Sun Hongyi with one kick or his pill divine capability. What shocked him even more was that he was Dao actualization divine emperor peak stage, but still couldn't see if Emo hid his cultivation level. There meant that either Yemo's stealth cultivation method was very powerful or Emo was stronger than him. That's why he spoke carefully. Emo said calmly, since Castle Master Dong came personally, It would be too rude of me to not go. Shadowless and Qiu Rang, come with me. The shop will be closed for now. Fu Fei, do you want to come visit the castle with me? Emo asked. Fu Fei immediately knew what Emo meant. Emo was letting him be familiar with the castle to find a weakness. Wan Bei is willing to go with Chen Bei, Fu Fei said without hesitation. When Emo entered the city, his spirit sense scanned across the entire city. There were spirit sense barriers everywhere, but Emo didn't force it open with his spirit sense blades. He was certain that even the city lord estate wasn't as luxurious and pretty as Shicheng Castle. The 20 kilometers of road in front of the castle was made with god crystals. This was an extreme display of wealth. Many immortals had to search outside just for a few god crystals to cultivate, but here, it was the ground. In an extremely huge golden palace in the castle, the four sat on the guest side while Dong En and Sun Hongyi sat at the top. Emo looked. There was also another Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Such power was quite good even amongst Divine Dao realm sections. Dong En was very polite and kept sending up immortal spirit fruits and god spirit teas. Castle Lord Dong's palace is quite amazing. There's probably a few god spirit ranges under here, right? It seems Castle Lord Dong is quite good at collecting wealth. You can even build such pretty castle in the Divine Dao realm. Dong En acted as though he didn't realize Yemo's scorn. He smiled compared to Tower Master. My accomplishment is nothing. Tower Master is a pill divine. You only need a few years to surpass me. I haven't asked for your name yet. I'm Yemo. Just when Yemo said this, an extremely cocky and furious voice sounded. Who dares to break my formation and take away the power of my immortal emperor? An immortal emperor middle-stage man wearing red robes appeared. There was a Dao molding divine emperor behind him. From his cocky tone, it was clear that he was the young castle master. Xianming, don't be rude. This is Tower Master Yi. I've invited him over to be a guest. Dong En yelled. Yemo had a strange feeling. The young castle master was Dong En's son. Why did he feel that Dong En had some concerns when speaking to the young castle master? Castle master, you don't need to care about this. No matter which tower master it is, since he dares to mess with me, Wei Xianming, then don't blame me. The young castle master said, and then glanced at Emo. Shadowless couldn't hold it anymore and laughed. This is really strange. We want to enter our own shop. If we don't break the restriction outside, are we going to use a teleportation formation to go in each time? I have no objections with you entering your shop, but you broke my restriction, so you must compensate. The restriction isn't inside your shop. Wei Xianming sneered and signaled to the Dao molding divine emperor next to him. So that's it. How much god crystals do we need to compensate you? Shadowless said. Wei Xianming didn't expect Shadowless to surrender this quickly. Although he knew Shadowless wouldn't surrender this easily, he still said, my formation is set up by the top formation grandmaster. It's worth 5 million top-grade god crystals. It's that expensive? Even the best formation can't be worth that much. There's also a 3-foot bear inside that was injured by Qiu Rang. Wouldn't the compensation be even higher? Shadowless said. Qiu Rang looked at Shadowless innocently, thinking, since when did I injure the 3-foot bear? It's my thing, so I name the price. You're right, it's 3 million god crystals for that 3-foot bear. In total, it's 8 million god crystals. Then, the Dao molding divine emperor expanded his force over. Shadowless gritted his teeth. Okay, we'll pay up. Wei Xianming dazed, it was this simple? But then he heard Shadowless say, Qiu Rang. How many immortal spirit herbs did the 3-foot bear break in our shop? Qiu Rang immediately understood and quickly said, he just ate a golden bell Buddha fruit. He didn't get time to eat other things and I caught it. Shadowless laughed. It seems that guy's quite lucky. That Buddha fruit is priceless, but I don't care. I'll take 18 million god crystals for it. Oi Wei dude, just give us 10 million god crystals. Don't say other shit, we name the price of our own things. You're asking to die. Wei Xianming was furious immediately. It was always he who did this to others. Since when did people dare to do this to him? Hold up, young castle master. Sun Hongyi knew Yemo was strong and immediately stopped Wei Xianming from attacking him. Dong En sneered, Xianming, Tower Master Yi is a guest I invited. Don't be rude. To him, if Yi Mo was a pill divine, then he was worth more than anything. Even Wei Xianming must not offend him. Castle Master, this person is clearly being unreasonable with his pet. I suspect he took over that shop by force. Otherwise, how can that shop only be sold for 450k god crystals? Wei Xianming didn't dare to be too rude to Dong In. Fu Fei suddenly got up and pointed at Wei Xianming. Wei Xianming, you took over my Fu God corner shop by force? And now you're saying that Yi Qian Bei took it by force? Do you have any face? You killed more than 10 people in the shop. I'm gonna tear you apart. Yi Mo sneered. So that's it. I've seen the young Castle Master's power. I didn't buy the shop from young Castle Master, but you knew the exact price. Yi Mo then smiled to Dong and Castle Master Dong. I'm not sure who is right or wrong based on Fu Fei and young Castle Master's words. I have an idea. Let them fight together. They're both Immortal Emperor middle stage anyways. Whoever wins is right. What do you think? He dared to say this because Yi Mo saw that despite having a better cultivation method, Wei Xuanming's was actually weaker than Fu Fei. Wei Xianming barely went through life or death situation while Fu Fei was always living life on the edge. Everyone in here looked dazedly at Yi Mo. What reason was this? Whoever was stronger was right. Fu Fei got up and said, I'm willing to fight young Castle Master. If Fu Fei loses, then I am wrong. He had long wanted to kill Wei Xianming, and knew this was an opportunity Yi Mo got for him. How could he let it go? Wei Xianming sneered and stood up. Then let's fight. I'm not going to be scared of a mere Immortal Emperor middle stage. Wei Xianming said as though forgetting he was an Immortal Emperor middle stage too. Then he looked at the Tao molding Divine Emperor next to him. Clearly, he knew that even if he lost, there would be someone to intervene. Shadowless saw this and laughed. What if someone's about to lose and his clone is going to intervene? If someone dares to interrupt the fight, then the people watching can kill whoever intervenes. Yi Mo said coldly. Wei Xianming shivered and said in contempt, You're a mere Immortal Emperor and you dare to say kill people. Yi Mo said calmly, It's fine if I can't kill, but with Castle Master Dong here, I believe he will uphold justice. Dong'an saw this and laughed. In that case you two can fight. We'll fight peacefully. Otherwise, my palace can't withstand two Immortal Emperors fighting. Yi Mo waved out tens of formation flags and drew out a big circle in this palace. Don't worry, Castle Master Dong. I know a little bit of formation. They can fight however they like in my formation. I promise your palace will be fine. There was a sliver of shock in Dong'an's eyes, but it soon receded. He was thinking just who was Yi Mo. How could he set up a formation in such a short time that couldn't be broken by Immortal Emperors? Just what formation skills was this? If he really was a pill divine, it was too shocking. But he wasn't worried about Wei Xianming and Fu Fei's battle. He trusted that Wei Xianming definitely wouldn't be scared of Fu Fei. Wei Xianming was the disciple of a Tao Essence Divine Emperor in the Great Sun God Mountain. Fu Fei landed in the circle without saying anything. Wei Xianming never took Yi Mo's formation seriously. He went up without hesitation too and released his magic artifact. It was a black half-bell. Half of the bell was gone. Compared to this, Fu Fei had a half-god artifact, a true martial spear. Fu Fei pierced out with his true martial spear, and a virulent killing intent spread out through the entire palace. Yi Mo waved out a few formation flags, and the killing intent that filled this palace immediately receded back into the formation. Seeing Yi Mo set up this formation so easily, Wei Xuanming's Tao molding Divine Emperor's face changed. He could feel that Yi Mo didn't seem to be an Immortal Emperor. He thought that even if Wei Xianming was outmatched, he would be able to save Wei Xianming, but now he wasn't so sure. Thinking about this, he subconsciously walked forward, wanting to get closer to the battle. Yi Mo saw this and sneered but did nothing. He didn't believe a Tao molding Divine Emperor could save someone from his hands. If Fu Fei was no match for Wei Xianming, then there was nothing he could do. Everyone in the palace looked at the battle. Fu Fei fought with his life immediately. He knew this opportunity didn't come easy. Wei Xianming saw Yi Mo seal the formation. He frowned, and then the bell completely smashed out. Black bell shadows struck out with a hum. These sounds came out of Yi Mo's formation, making Qiu Rang almost unable to bear it. Yi Mo waved his hand again, and a few more formation flags flew out. Those bell sounds were immediately much weaker. Fu Fei's spear carried out 10,000 spear shadows that clashed with the bell shadows, creating huge explosion whirlpools. It seemed powerful, but none of them could get past Yi Mo's formation. Yi Mo was a little shocked. He saw that Fu Fei didn't use god art or magic arts. He used a complete set of spear art. The countless spear shadows broke open Wei Xuanming's immortal emperor domain. Wei Xianming didn't take Fu Fei seriously, but as they fought, it was clearly becoming a life-or-death battle. Eventually, Yi Mo's battle circle was completely filled with bell and spear shadow. One could barely see Fu Fei and Wei Xianming. Yi Mo saw this and knew that Fu Fei wasn't just an immortal cultivator. He thought about the other type of cultivator Zhen Bingyu mentioned to them. They weren't really cultivators, they were martial artists. Yi Mo hadn't seen a pure martial artist. Zhen Bingyu said that cultivating martial arts to the extreme could allow you to break open the void. Fu Fei might be an immortal and martial dual cultivator. Just when Yi Mo was thinking if martial artists could cultivate to primordial essence divine emperor level, the victory had been decided. The bell and spear smashed head-on, creating a heaven-shocking sound. Even Yi Mo's formation couldn't completely block this sound. The half-bell swept Fu Fei's spear away. If it wasn't for Yi Mo's formation, the two magic artifacts might have flown out of the palace. Yi Mo guessed Fu Fei was a martial cultivator, and now that his spear was swept away, Yi Mo frowned. It wasn't good for a martial cultivator for his weapon to leave his hand, but he set the rules. Even if Fu Fei was killed, he couldn't intervene. Just when the spear was taken away, Wei Xianming showed a smirk. He was very annoyed with Fu Fei's fighting style. It wasn't magic arts nor god art. Now that Fu Fei's greatest reliance, his spear, was gone, Fu Fei was like dead to him. In a heavy thud, the bell smashed towards Fu Fei. Now, the Tao-molding divine emperor who followed Wei Xianming breathed easy. He could tell Fu Fei was a martial cultivator, so his body would definitely be strong. But no matter how strong it was, it couldn't be stronger than that slumbering bell spirit. The young castle master clearly activated the bell spirit. Yi Mo frowned, but when he saw Fu Fei's cold expression that was calm, he immediately knew that Fu Fei knew about Wei Xuanming's move. It seemed he did a lot of work just to kill Wei Xianming. Blood spewed out as the half-bell flew past Fu Fei's waist, almost cutting him in half. However, Wei Xuanming's face changed. That clearly could have cut Fu Fei in half, but it only sliced open his waist a little. Yi Mo nodded. Fu Fei was also a body refinement cultivator. He had a piece of armor on his waist that could save him. Fu Fei was heavily injured but not dead. Since Fu Fei knew of this move, it meant he had a counterattack now. Fu Fei immediately released a rune and punched out. This was a high-level immobilization rune. Yi Mo saw it immediately. It was for one-time use, but it could freeze an opponent in a second. In this second, too many things can happen. Wei Xianming clearly wasn't dumb. When he saw that his bell spirit couldn't kill Fu Fei, he immediately knew things weren't good. Before he could do anything, Fu Fei's immobilization rune was used as he punched out. Wei Xuanming's face changed. He could only watch as Fu Fei attack him. He was just frozen for an instant, but he couldn't do anything in this instant. If he didn't activate the bell spirit, he was certain that even with the rune, Fu Fei wouldn't be able to freeze him. Clearly, Fu Fei calculated that he would be weak after activating the bell spirit. The Tao-molding divine emperor saw this and was very shocked. He dashed without hesitation. Yi Mo sneered. He had long wanted to kill this Tao-molding divine emperor. Just when the Tao-molding divine emperor grabbed the outer rim of the defense formation, Yi Mo suddenly got up and waved out a crevice spirit sense god art. The crevice god art was used by spirit sense. It was perfect for ambush. Just when the Tao-molding divine emperor wanted to tear open the formation, he felt a 30 kilometers purple ray fall in his sea of consciousness. He was ambushed. His sea of consciousness immediately turned over with the huge pain as he spat blood. Before he could stop this god art, a sword rune hacked over. Falling mark. Yi Mo wanted to end it quickly to prevent Dong En from intervening. Splurge. blood spew, and this Tao molding divine emperor was hacked to pieces. At the same time, Wei Xianming was hacked to pieces by Fu Fei. When Wei Xianming died, he saw his Tao molding divine emperor die earlier than him. Dong'an just got up now and didn't even have the time to attack. He thought Wei Xuanming's Tao molding divine emperor could instantly break Yi Mo's formation and save Wei Xianming. He just hesitated for a second, and Yi Mo killed a Tao molding divine emperor in this second. Even he didn't have this power. Just who was this Tower Master Yi Mo? He was too scary. I found a storage ring on the ground. I'm really lucky. Shadowless acted like an idiot and quickly grabbed the Tao molding divine emperor's ring. Seeing Fu Fei take Wei Xuanming's storage ring and bell, Yi Mo then put away the defense formation. The palace was filled with silence. No one cared about what Shadowless did. Yi Mo was an outsider, and yet he dared to kill the young castle master. That Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor next to Sun Hongyi immediately got up and said, "Yi Mo, you're an outsider and you dare to kill in our Xicheng castle? You even dare to bring someone to kill our young castle master." As he spoke, his violent killing intent spewed out, filling the entire palace. Are you blind or are you deaf? There was an agreement before the fight that no one is allowed to intervene in the battle. Those who do are to be killed. Kill the young castle master? Are you a pig? You knew that someone would die from the battle. Yi Mo sneered. He hoped Dong'an would attack, that way he would slaughter the entire Xicheng castle. He could tell that Dong'an didn't seem to be on the same line as Wei Xianming. If Dong'an didn't attack, he couldn't really attack. Okay, in that case I Olei will come test you. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor got up. Yi Mo sneered. Dong'an knew that Olei was definitely no match for Yi Mo. Before Yi Mo spoke, he yelled, "Retreat, Martial Brother Lei." There was an agreement before the battle. Outsiders who intervene are to be killed. Tower Master Yi is a VIP of our Xicheng castle. Don't be rude. Yes. Olei didn't dare to argue against Dong'an. He collected his force and retreated, but his killing intent towards Yi Mo didn't recede at all. Yi Mo was confused why a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor had a reason to challenge him. From how he killed that Tao Molding Divine Emperor, that Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor should know that he was definitely no match for him. When he saw the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor still have killing intent in his eyes, he immediately understood. This person was either close to Wei Xianming or acted that he was furious. Yi Mo gave a few pills to Fu Fei and ignored this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Tower Master Yi is indeed powerful. Dong'an had an eye-opener today. Tens of thousands of years ago, I happened to get a dragon race wine. We'll use the opportunity today for everyone to celebrate. Dong'an didn't seem to care about Wei Xianming being killed. Dragon race wine? Yi Mo was interested, but he didn't ask. Moments later, a seductive female immortal sent a few cups of white jade wine to everyone. There was seductive aroma from the cups. One's mind was clear just by smelling it. One could imagine how good it would be to drink it. Qiu Rang was drooling. His only passion was drinking wine. How could he resist it now when he saw the sacred wine from the dragon race? He already tried a little. Amazing wine, Qiu Rang sighed. Dong'an raised a cup and smiled. Come. Welcome to Xicheng Castle Tower Master Yi. Then he drank the entire cup and closed his eyes. Clearly, he was very happy about this wine. Yi Mo drank the entire cup. As the aromatic wine dripped down his throat, he felt amazing. This is indeed amazing wine, Yi Mo exclaimed. Dong'an sighed too. Pity I only have this kettle. Otherwise, I would definitely give some to Tower Master Yi. I don't dare. Yi Mo said, Castle Master Dong call it dragon race sacred wine? Is it from the dragon race? This wine is indeed from the dragon race. I happened to get it from a deal in the Void Marketplace. However, such wine has great demand in the Void Marketplace and I could only get a kettle. Dong'an said with pity. Void Marketplace deal? What is that? Yi Mo asked. Dong'an looked at Yi Mo with confusion. With Tower Master Ye's power, you should be able to deal at the Void Marketplace. The Divine Tao realm is broken, but you can still go to the Void Marketplace. Yi Mo got up and saluted with his fists. I've always been in solitary cultivation and I really don't know about the Void Marketplace. Please introduce me to it, Castle Master Dong. Seeing that Emo really didn't know, Dong and nodded. Void Marketplace is a marketplace in the endless void. It's a city. Those who can go there have to be at least Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor Peak. Most people are Dao Actualization Divine Emperor. A city in the void? Emo was truly shocked. Dong and nodded. That's right. A city in the void, but ordinary people can't go at all. The things in there are all the best. The divine Dao realm is broken and the human race's power is drastically depleted, but many powerful beings from the demon race, dragon race, monster race, abyssal race, and so forth all go. The things they bring are also top quality. Emo was very shocked. He had come in contact with such race, but he didn't know they had their own realm and powerful beings. Comparatively, after the divine Dao realm was broken, the human race declined greatly. Please tell me how to go to the Void Marketplace, Castle Master Dong. Emo asked genuinely. Although Emo killed a Dao Molding Divine Emperor of his sect and killed a Dao Essence Divine Emperor disciple, Dongan still wanted to connect to Emo, as Emo was possibly a Pill Divine. A Pill Divine was too significant. Even when the divine Dao realm wasn't broken, Pill Divines was extremely rare. Now that the divine Dao realm was broken, there were even less Pill Divine. He saw the pills from Luo Yu Pill Forgery Divine Tower. They were real God pills. There was not only Recovery God pills, but also Dao Molding Divine Emperor Cultivation God pills. If it wasn't to connect with Emo, then he was confident he could take Emo down in the Xicheng Castle. If you want to go to the Void Marketplace, you must leave the divine Dao realm and enter the divine Dao realm void. When the divine Dao realm wasn't broken, there was a teleportation formation to the divine Dao realm void, but now, one can only go there himself. Dongan said, "May I ask Castle Master Dong how I can find the Void Marketplace after entering the void?" Emo asked. The Void Marketplace was connected to the different realms. He could ask about the dragon race there and get many good things inside. The divine Dao realm was broken. Even if there was enough God Spirit Chi, it wouldn't be able to produce the Dao fruit he needed for Dao nourishment. Plus, Emo intended to return to the Immortal realm and seal up the passage between the two realms. If he went back to the Immortal realm, it would mean he wouldn't be able to enter the Void Marketplace. He had to go to the Void Marketplace before he went back to the Immortal realm. I have a location disk of the Void Marketplace here. I bought it from the Void Marketplace. Since I'm so close with Tower Master Yi, you can have it. Dongan said. Emo took it and scanned his spirit sense in. He also saluted with his fists. "Thank you, Castle Master Dong." From Dongan's actions and expressions, Emo could tell he had more than one of such disc, but regardless, Emo was grateful. "You're too polite. I also have a map to the void entrance. You can have it to Tower Master Yi." Dongan said. Emo took the jade slip and the location disc and felt great. He raised the cup. "I've benefited quite a lot coming to your place, Castle Master Dong. Cheers. If you need anything of me, just say it." Dongan laughed and drank the entire cup before saying, "Tower Master Yi probably made the things at your shop, right?" "It was this indeed." Emo laughed. "That's right. Most of the pills there and God art are made by me. Sorry for my disrespect. Tower Master Yi is actually a Dao Molding Pill Divine. It was just a guess before now, but Dong and got confirmation now." The rest of the people in the Xicheng Castle were all very shocked. A Pill Divine didn't come so easily. The value of a Dao Molding Pill Divine was on par with a Dao Essence Divine Emperor. Emo nodded. "I can indeed only concoct Dao Molding God Pills. As for Dao Nourishment God Pills, I can't concoct them yet." Emo got many God Spirit herbs in the Muhua God Mountain, and so he brought up his pill concoction skills to Dao Molding Pill Divine level. It wasn't that his pill concoction skills couldn't improve, but it was too hard to get Dao Nourishment God Spirit herbs. Dong inside, Tower Master Yi hasn't been to the Void Marketplace. If one you go, you will see that originally the human race was the majority there, but now human race have depleted rapidly. It's not because other races have more prodigies and pill divines, but because the divine Dao realm is broken and all sorts of God Spirit herb and Dao fruits are lacking. Other races have much more abundance of God Spirit herb and Dao fruits. So, their power is far beyond that of the human race. Emo listened quietly. He didn't believe Dong En would think for the human race. Indeed, Dong En's tone changed. Tower Master Yi. Our great sun god mountain was one of the three big sects of the divine Tao realm. Now that Suyu divine Tao is diminished and the immortal goddess sacred sect sealed mountain, our great sun god mountain is the strongest sect of the divine Tao realm. Our greatest wish is to repair the divine Tao realm and allow divine Tao realm to return to instant second prime. However, our great sun god mountain don't have a real pill divine yet. If Tower Master Yi is willing to join the great sun god mountain, you will be able to rebuild the divine Tao realm with great sun god mountain. Emo sneered. Join the great sun god mountain? When he was strong, he would annihilate great sun god mountain. How could he join the great sun god mountain? Plus, he had even killed Tao actualization divine emperor of the great sun god mountain. He didn't believe Dong En's words too. Repair the divine Tao realm and allow it to recover? Who would believe this? If it was spirit controlling the divine Tao realm and turning it into the great sun god mountain, he would believe it. But he heard the great sun god mountain only has Tao essence divine emperor. It was daydreaming for a Tao essence divine emperor to spirit control the divine Tao realm. It's no rush joining the great sun god mountain. I plan to go to the void marketplace first. However, does Castle Master Dong need me to help with anything? Emo didn't reject immediately. He knew that Dong En connected to him for him to join the great sun god mountain. There was a sliver of disappointment in Dong En's eyes, but then he laughed. In that case, then we'll talk about it after Tower Master Yi comes back from the void marketplace. I don't have any personal needs. When Tower Master Yi wants to go to the void marketplace, I will go with Brother Yi if I'm free. Oh, what does Castle Master Dong want at the void marketplace? Emo asked casually. Dong En said with pity, I need a Tao fruit. It doesn't matter what Tao fruit it is. It's too hard to get a Tao fruit in the divine Tao realm. Many years ago, I heard there were a few ages fruit from the Muhua God Mountain, but when I got there it was already too late. Emo smiled and took out a jade box. Thank you for helping me, Castle Master Dong. There's not much I can give back. You can have this Tao fruit. What? Dong En thought he heard wrong. Who casually gave out Tao fruits? Plus, the things he gave even if multiplied by a few million times wasn't worth a Tao fruit. This is a Tao fruit I got many years ago. I don't have much use for it. You can have it. He still had 51 great primordial god rune Tao fruits. Even if he gave one, he still had 50. The void marketplace was worthless to Dong En but very important to Emo. He would have greater chances of reaching Tao nourishment divine emperor in the void marketplace. Even Little Blue needed to go there for evolution. Little Blue still hadn't melted that spear clearly because his level was too low. It's great primordial god rune Tao fruit. It really is Tao fruit. Dong En said shakily. He didn't expect Emo to be this generous. He just gave a location disc and told him about the void marketplace, but he got such return. He was even more certain of Yemo's character now. Thank you, Tower Master Yi. Dong is guilty to take this Tao fruit, but it's too important to Dong. If Tower Master Yi needs anything and Dong can do it, Dong will definitely help. Dong En was truly grateful to Emo. Emo smiled. It's good that it can benefit Castle Master Dong. I'm going to the void marketplace. Please give me a few pointers. Dong En got up and said, please have a chat inside. Emo knew Dong En was grateful and wanted to tell him some secrets about the void marketplace. He got up and said, Shadowless, you guys stay here. Half a day later, Emo happily took Shadowless, Qiu Rang and Fei Fei and left the Xicheng castle. He learned a lot about the void marketplace from Dong En. The void marketplace wasn't simple a big city that connected the different races. It was also a place where the prodigies from the different races gathered. Those who went to void marketplace were either extremely powerful beings or some prodigy cultivator. They could all easily kill peers. In the void marketplace, power was everything. There was no sympathy nor tears here, only power. The most famous thing in the void marketplace was two ranks. One was the God Tao rank and one was the Divine Tao rank. They were also called God rank and Divine rank. God rank was something all divine emperors could chase for. This only referred to divine emperors before Tao Essence Divine Emperor. When you reached Tao Essence Divine Emperor, you could only chase for divine rank. As for Primordial Essence Divine Emperor, they were extremely rare even in the Void Marketplace. Only one or two came occasionally. They wouldn't go on any rank. Those who reached Primordial Essence Divine Emperor were usually cultivating and managing their own world. They wouldn't stay in the Void Marketplace. Each rank had 500 people. The human race had very few people on the rank due to the fall of the Divine Tao realm. The rest of the races had many prodigies. If it wasn't that there was no point in taking over the Divine Tao realm, it would have long become a subsidiary world of other races. Emo didn't take the people on the rank seriously, but when he heard Dongan say that someone formed the God rank defeated a Tao Essence Divine Emperor, he was shocked. He was confident that he was invincible amongst peers, but he didn't expect he was powerful enough to cross a big step, defeating a Tao Vindication second step Tao Essence Divine Emperor as a Tao Vindication first step cultivator. From this, one could see that, in the vast universe, there were countless powerful beings. The strongest not necessarily came from the human race. Due to this news, Emo looked down on the great sun god mountain even more. Such a sect didn't think about how to repair the Divine Tao realm but instead thought about how to dominate the Divine Tao realm. They even wanted to turn the Divine Tao broken realm into their great sun god realm. From Dongan, he also knew that although there were Tao molding divine emperors in the Void Marketplace, they were either very insane or went with the Tao Essence Divine Emperor from their sect. As for why many divine emperors of the Divine Tao realm went the God Necropolis domain to vindicate Primordial Essence Divine Emperor, Emo understood a bit about it too. If one didn't become Primordial Essence Divine Emperor, he would definitely not be able to repair the Divine Tao realm. Plus, even if you repaired the Divine Tao realm, you would just be doing work for others. A beautiful world without a Primordial Essence Divine Emperor is like a naked beautiful woman sleeping on the bed waiting to be raped. Emo thought of the Immortal Realm tunnel and sighed. The Immortal Realm was like this. Even though the Immortal Realm was broken, each heaven domain was something ordinary divine emperors of the Divine Tao realm would want. One needed at least a low-grade flying god artifact to go to the Void Marketplace. Luckily Emo had Space-Time Boat. Dongan gave a cloud boat claw to Emo to thank him for the Tao fruit. This was a material for making flying god artifact. Plus, Emo got other top-level materials, so he decided to upgrade his Space-Time Boat to a middle-grade god artifact. Luanlan Divine Tao City was just like usual. Everyone thought that this pill forgery tower would just be a spark that disappeared quickly, however it stabilized in the city instead. Even that young castle master disappeared from the city. Emo knew that Wei Xuanming's status wasn't low. Dongan said he would help him get this sorted, but Emo didn't have much hopes. If the Great Sun God Mountain came to him, he would run if he couldn't beat them. But he didn't expect that Dong and really didn't bluff. There was no news of Wei Xuanming anymore, nor did anyone from Great Sun God Mountain come out to talk about this. As time went on, Emo relaxed and focused on forging his flying god artifact. He left everything in the shop to Shadowless, Small Ginseng, Qiu Rang and Fu Fei. Small Ginseng was focused on pill concoction, the rest of them were focused on selling. Small Ginseng was good at pill concoction and Emo gave the Mist Lotus Heart Fire to him and taught Small Ginseng pill concoction skills. Now, Small Ginseng could barely make some god pills. As for martial artists, Emo asked Fu Fei. Fu Fei cultivated it due to an accident. Someone came to the Fu family shop to sell the true martial spear. Fu Fei liked the spear on first sight and used his advantage in the shop to buy it with all his savings. He got the martial arts cultivation method from the spear. Emo didn't get the answer he wanted, but he didn't care. His body refinement was at Immortal God Body peak stage and couldn't reach into Divine Body. The Luo Yu Pill Forgery Divine Tower's fame grew bigger, but Emo had finished solitary cultivation. Little Blue had burned for many years, but that short spear still hadn't melted. Emo had decided for Little Blue to stop. He sealed the short spear and started to upgrade the Space-Time Boat. Because Luo Yu Pill Forgery Divine Tower had great things, almost all immortals liked to go there. The business of other pill and forgery towers worsened, but no one dared to seek trouble with Luo Yu. Luo Yu was famous, but they were powerful. Even the Shicheng Tower didn't dare to go speak there. Plus, Luo Yu only took a small portion of the entire market. 3 years suddenly passed again. EMO fused all these materials into the space-time boat and truly upgraded it to a middle-grade flying god artifact. Not only so, the inner cabin was much larger. EMO added many defense formations outside too. EMO breathed easy. He was ready to go to the Void Marketplace now. EMO had decided to give the Luo Yu Pill Forgery Tower to Fu Fei. With Dong and to take care of him, Fu Fei would have no problem running the shop. As soon as EMO put away the space-time boat, there was a ripple. EMO rejoiced. He knew that Mu Xiaoyun finished solitary cultivation. Mu Xiaoyun put away the time formation disc and came out as Immortal King Peak stage. She was ready to have her Immortal Monarch Divine Damnation. Husband. Mu Xiaoyun saw that EMO was right next to him and rejoiced and quickly came over. You're ready to have Immortal Monarch Divine Damnation? EMO grabbed her hand and felt her god essence. The time formation disc is really a good thing. I feel cultivation is so fast inside. Mu Xiaoyun sighed. EMO laughed. I'll protect you. Have your Immortal Monarch Divine Damnation. EMO said. There were all sorts of divine damnation places in the Golden Page world, and even the Spirit Gathering formation was set up. EMO wasn't going to intervene with Mu Xiaoyun's divine damnation. In the Golden Page world, EMO could completely control the power of her divine damnation, but EMO didn't want to do this unless it was a life or death situation. Mu Xiaoyun's talent was absurd, and she had this many magic artifact and pills. Even if the divine damnation was stronger, EMO believed she could do it. At this moment, two slightly messy-haired women ran into the city. The woman ahead was slightly older but looked like an extremely beautiful middle-aged woman. The woman next to her had her face hidden, but her extremely beautiful temperament couldn't be hidden. Master, we've pretty much ended our exit by coming here, the woman said. The middle-aged woman sighed. Even if we don't come in here, there's no other way. I have a subtle feeling that this is our only chance of survival here. The masked woman said nothing, but then she said in surprise, Master, look. This is Luo Yu Pill Forgery Divine Tower. What? The middle-aged woman didn't react in time. The masked woman quickly said, Master, the cultivation realm I went down to was Luo Yu continent. It was that martial brother who brought me back to the immortal realm and sent me back to the Ice God Palace. Otherwise, I would never be able to see Master again. The middle-aged woman realized and sighed, Qing Ru. That incident was unfortunate for you, but I haven't seen the person who saved you. After we repair the tunnel from the immortal realm to here, I'll go thank him. Qing Ru nodded. Master, that martial brother is definitely no ordinary person. I'm afraid his power is no weaker than Master now. I really don't get why Xianxia would harm such a person of high morals. Xianxia is the reincarnation of the immortal goddess saint. Her means are clearly a bit over the line, but she's doing it for the immortal goddess. Sigh. The middle-aged woman clearly didn't like what Xianxia did too. If it wasn't for that, how could she leave the Ice God Palace? She wouldn't have left the Ice God Palace even if she had to vindicate Dao. Now that she vindicated Dao but didn't go back to the Ice God Palace. Instead, she brought her disciple to the God Necropolis domain because she didn't want to have anything to do with the Ice God Palace. Qing Ru knew what her master thought and said with guilt, that martial brother is someone who values people the most. He saved Xianxia many times, but Xianxia instead harmed him. Even so, he just left the Ice God Palace sadly and didn't want revenge. I know it's because he's not scared of the Ice God Palace nor due to Xianxia's beauty, but because Xianxia saved him once. That's all. Did you not want to stay in the Ice God Palace due to this? The woman looked at Qing Ru and asked. Qing Ru fell silent for a moment and said, When Master handed over the position of Big Palace Lord and left, I didn't want to stay. When I heard what Xianxia said to me, I didn't want to stay even more. If it wasn't that Master wanted to come to the God Necropolis domain to repair the formation, I would keep cultivating as I searched for that martial brother. I want to thank him for saving my life. You like him? The middle-aged woman asked. Qing Ru looked down. No, I just feel that the Ice God Palace owes him. As they spoke, they entered the shop. There are so many people here. The business is so good. Qing Ru sighed. Today happened to be the day of small ginseng god pill sale. Of course, there's a lot of people coming. An immortal emperor said on the said. There's small ginseng god pills for sale? The middle-aged woman asked in shock. She had been here with Qingru for a while and knew the value of small ginseng god pills. That was something only true pill divines could concoct. The immortal emperor saw Qingru's magnificent body and said, "Of course. Luo Yu pill and forgery divine towers pills and magic artifact are the best. They would sell a few types of small ginseng god pills on the first day of each month. Today is that day. Because Yemo couldn't constantly make pills. If he really sold all the pills he made, he wouldn't have time for cultivation. So, Shadowless and Fu Fei decided that to attract customers, they would sell some of Yemo's pills at the first day of each month. The middle-aged woman looked at the god pills and her eyes dimmed. There were many pills she needed, but she couldn't afford any of them. "Martial brother, may I ask if the master of this tower is here?" Qingru asked. "Who are you? If you want to buy magic artifact and pills, come to me. I've the vice tower master here. Why do you need to see boss?" Shadowless gloated. Many people in the shop came up to suck up to Shadowless, clearly knowing what he liked. "Big brother Shadowless, hello? I want to buy 3 Luo E pill." "Big boss Shadowless, I want to buy an extreme grade immortal artifact. I'm still missing a few god crystals." "Shadowless Tower Master, I want to buy 2 Tai Wei Emperor return pills." Shadowless waved his hand in a satisfied manner to give you 10% off. "And you, give the missing god crystals next time. Tai Wei Emperor return pill? I'll give you 10% off too." Qingru and the middle-aged woman were dazed. This Shadowless was too easily sucked up. People just called him Big Brother and he gave 10% off. They were even more shocked that Tai Wei Emperor return pill could be bought like candy here. If they bought a bunch of this and returned to the immortal realm, then the two people thought of the countless ice peaks of the Ice God Palace. If there were this many Tai Wei Emperor return pill, would the Ice God Palace need to commit such atrocity? Would they need to leave the Ice God Palace? Shadowless set up his posture before walking up to the two and said, "Two goddesses, what do you need? Just come to me. Boss is in solitary cultivation and doesn't have time to see you." "Wait!" Shadowless suddenly dashed to the door of the shop and stopped two men. "Put away your magic artifact. Those who come to the Pill Forgery Divine Tower are not allowed to have magic artifacts." "Pill Forgery Divine Tower? Such cocky words. What thing are you? You're just an animal guarding the gates and you dare to let the divine put away his magic artifact?" A green-robed man sneered and kicked Shadowless away. Shadowless was strong, but against a Tao-molding divine emperor, there was nothing he could do. He was kicked away and smashed onto a rack. Everything on there fell. "Everyone rob it. It's some benefits that the divine gave you." The green-robed Tao-molding divine emperor laughed. But unexpectedly, despite a lot of people coming here to buy, no one used this opportunity to rob the pills on the ground. Most people didn't leave and sneered as though ready to watch a good show. This is a god pill for Tao-molding divine emperor, huh? And it's extremely high grade." The divine emperor soon grabbed a few bottles into his storage ring. The middle-aged woman's face changed and quickly said, "You're capturing us. It has nothing to do with this shop. Put the things here and we'll go with you." "Ha ha ha, thanks for helping. Otherwise how could we know there's such a good shop in the city? There's even god pills." The Tao-molding divine emperor laughed. "Boy, did you say god pills?" Another figure appeared at the door. The middle-aged woman's face sunk. She couldn't even beat that Tao-molding divine emperor, and this person who just came was clearly Tao nourishment divine emperor or above. Shadowless crawled up. "Boss, there's someone robbing our shop." Shadowless immediately sent Yemo a message. He knew that only Boss could handle this. Yemo was just happily talking to Mu Xiaoyun. She had easily passed her Immortal Monarch Divine Damnation and was now an Immortal Monarch primary stage. At this moment, he received Shadowless's message. When his spirit sense fell in the shop, he immediately sneered. "What happened?" Mu Xiaoyun immediately felt Yemo's anger. "Someone wants to rob my shop. Come out too." Yemo took Mu Xiaoyun out of the shop. "Ji Chuan, go greet the city lord and tell them that the Du Ting God sect has some conflict with this shop. After we're done here, I'll come up personally to greet him. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor saw that all the god pills in this shop was real. The city didn't dare to offend Fu God Corner, but it didn't mean their sect didn't. Only then did the people in the shop realize that this divine emperor thought this shop still belonged to the Fu God Corner. These two probably hadn't been in the city for a long time. Wait! The immortal emperor behind the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor said. What? The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor's face sunk. The immortal emperor quickly said, Elder Mang, the Fu family's shop was long taken away. This shop no longer belongs to the Fu family. Humph, the only immortal emperor here is called Fu Fei. I've been to the city before and this person was here. Even if the shop is given to someone else, it's related to the Fu family. The mere Fu family? What's wrong with a mere Fu family? Emo and Mu Xiaoyun walked down. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was a little shocked. He didn't see there was someone at the second floor, but when he saw Emo was just an immortal emperor and Mu Xiaoyun was just an immortal monarch, he sneered. My Du Ting God sect can annihilate with one hand. Elder, it said this shop is related to the Great Sun God Mountain. The 11 Chang Castle here belongs to Great Sun God Mountain. The immortal emperor behind him sound transmissioned to the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Great Sun God Mountain was an ancient sect and only rose up in recent years. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor clearly knew about the Great Sun God Mountain and frowned. The Du Ting God sect wasn't afraid of the Great Sun God Mountain but clearly didn't want to have big problems with the Great Sun God Mountain. Boss, you're finally here. We were abused to death by these people. This bastard even kicked me. Shadowless saw Emo come and cried. Qing Ru's eyes lit up. She didn't expect to be able to see Emo in the God Necropolis domain. She quickly walked up to Emo and thanked Marshal Brother. We meet again. I really didn't expect you open this shop. Emo saw Qing Ru too. He didn't expect her to appear in the divine Tao realm too and said happily, Goddess Qing Ru, I didn't expect you to have come here. Qing Ru, he's... The middle-aged woman asked in confusion. Master, this is the martial brother I told you about who saved me. Qing Ru quickly said, This is the big palace lord, my master. After I left the sect, I've been with my master. So it's the big palace lord. I'm Emo. Congratulations on vindicating Tao. Emo didn't like the Ice God Palace, but he heard Qing Ru say this big palace lord was a nice person. The big palace lord quickly said, TM no longer the big palace lord. Just call me Li Xiu. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor grabbed at the big palace lord and sneered. Take these two away immediately, and I'll explain the rest at the Xichang Castle. Li Xiu quickly released a magic artifact. No need to fight here. I'll go with you. It has nothing to do with here. She had regretted coming to Yemo's shop. Not only did she not find help, but she also brought trouble to Yemo. Yemo was only an immortal emperor. There was nothing he could do against two divine emperors. You robbed my shop and you want to leave? Yemo walked forward and punched. He didn't need to use any hand signs or chants. With this punch, the entire shop suddenly became cold. A coldness that could freeze space ravaged. Those weaker immortal monarchs even had to use their cultivation method to resist this. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor's face changed. As soon as Emo reached his hand, he knew Emo was no immortal emperor. Even a Tao molding divine emperor wouldn't be able to use such god art. The nearby space seemed to have been completely frozen. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor immediately knew that he was far weaker than this Emo. His blood boiled and the instant the icy space bound him. His boiling blood smashed open this space. There was a crisp crack. Everyone looked at the empty space as it suddenly seemed to have cracked open. Blood splashed and this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor dashed out of the shop like a blood arrow. The audience was silent. Everyone knew that the Tower Master was strong, but no one expected him to be able to force away a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor like this with one move. Emo sneered and just threw out a few formation flags and punched. Immortal friend, wait, this is a misunderstanding. I'm from the Du Ting God sect. Du Ting God sect was an extremely famous big sect in the Divine Tao realm, but no matter what, it was only so-so. He would even fight the Great Sun God Mountain and Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, much less Du Ting God sect. Fist God Art Shatter Space. Yemo's shatter space didn't have the force that swept all of the space lethal force. Now, it contained this entire space into that one punch. Only this Tao-molding divine emperor knew what situation he was in. Such fierce, condensed lethal force was wrapped in a fist and punched over. This Tao-molding divine emperor didn't even have time to beg for mercy. He had to stop this fist first. He wanted to release his shield, but at the same time, a purple ray appeared in his sea of consciousness that sliced his sea of consciousness in half. The shield fell from his hands, and Yemo's shatter space punch completely tore him apart. In an explosion, the Tao-molding divine emperor was completely obliterated. Thud. The Tao nourishment divine emperor didn't charge very far, and was stopped by an invisible restriction. He immediately realized that this shop was completely surrounded by restrictions. No one could leave without Yemo's permission. Realizing this, the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor turned around to Yemo and saluted with his fists. "I'm the elder of Du Ting God sect Mang Chogu. I was in solitary cultivation before and just came out. I didn't know this shop belonged to you. Please forgive me for any offense. The Du Ting God sect will pay for all damages caused." The two Du Ting God sect immortal emperors stood on the side with a pale face. "What thing is Du Ting God sect? I've never heard of it. No matter who it is that dares to rob my shop, you have to be prepared to die," Yemo said. Mang Chogu's face was bad. He knew he was no match for Yemo and thus tried to use his sect's name to scare Yemo. However, Yemo didn't even care about the Du Ting God sect. Before he could continue to talk, Yemo hacked out with Zisu. He was scared to damage his shop before, but now they were outside. Space sunk into oblivion. Even the flow of air became slow. Twisted sword runes arced down from the sky. A vibrant purple color completely covered Mang Chogu. Sword Dao God Art, falling mark sword rune. In this twisted space, Mang Chogu didn't know where this twisted sword rune was going to land. He couldn't dodge at all, he could only release his Sen Luo ring. Ring shadows smashed out, wanting to block the fall of the sword rune. Crack crack. Countless ring shadows were activated that smashed with the sword rune. Blood flashed. Mang Chogu breathed easy. Although he was injured by the sword rune, it was nothing serious. This twisted sword rune was too scary. "Immortal friend, wait. Mang Chogu immediately called for stop. He knew the difference between them was too great and that he would die if he continued fighting. Before he finished, 5 lightning spears sealed off all his exits. Mang Chogu's face showed a snarl. He didn't expect Yemo was this cruel and didn't leave him any chance to live. A violent god essence chi exploded from him. It was as though entire space would be destroyed in the next moment. Yemo's face changed. This guy was going to self-destruct even before being seriously injured. If it was outside, he would instant transmission away, but here, if he didn't suppress it, everything here, including his shop, would turn to dust. Instant second. Yemo used instant second god art and space-time completely paused. It was just 1 second, but to Yemo it was enough. Zisu sliced as Mang Chogu watched Zisu take his life force away and destroy his essence spirit. Time pause law. This was the last thought Mang Chogu had. Thud. Even though Yemo stopped Mang Chogu's self-destruction, his god essence still exploded when Zisu sliced across his body. However, the explosion was countless times smaller than before. The immortal emperor behind him was also caught by the ripple and turned to bloody mist. This entire battle happened in just a few seconds. Yemo put away Zisu and saluted with his fists. "Everyone. Trouble happened at our shop, so we'll be closed for now." Everyone reacted and saluted with his fists before leaving. Yemo sealed up Ji Chuan, who didn't dare to leave nor beg for mercy, before saying to Li Xiu and Qingru, "Big Palace Lord and Goddess Qingru, come up for a chat." "Tower Master Yi, I didn't expect your power to be at this level. I thought you were just immortal emperor power." Li Xiu sighed. Yemo easily killed a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. This meant that Yemo was no weaker than a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor or was even a strong Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Qingru was also shocked. She was scared by Yemo's cultivation level too. She knew Yemo would be boundless in the future, but this future came too quickly? How long has it been? "Martial brother Yi," Qing Ru knew you weren't an ordinary immortal. Now, it seems I still underestimated you too much. Qing Ru took off her mask as she spoke to show respect for Yemo. She sighed about how short-sighted Nie Shuangshuang was. Nie Shuangshuang killed Yemo just to show her persistence to Dao. But how would Nie Shuangshuang feel once she vindicated Dao and realized she was nothing compared to Yemo? Mu Xiaoyun was very shocked when she saw Qing Ru's beauty. She was extremely beautiful herself and had always stayed at Immortal Goddess Peak and cultivated the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect beauty cultivation method. Despite this, she found she was lesser than Qing Ru. In her impression, only Ji Shi seemed to be on par with Qing Ru. Even Ji Shi lacked this inexpressible thing. Mu Xiaoyun was different to other women. All her heart was on Yemo, but as a woman, there was no way she didn't care about her looks. Yemo smiled and grabbed Mu Xiaoyun's hand before saying to the two, "This is my wife Mu Xiaoyun." Then he introduced to Mu Xiaoyun, "This is Goddess Qing Ru and her master Li Xiu. Li Xiu is the big palace lord of the Ice God Palace. When I was trapped in the Ice God Palace, Qing Ru helped me out. Sister Xiaoyun, you're stronger than me and your brother Ye's wife. I should call you Big Sister. Brother Yi actually saved me," Qing Ru quickly said. Yemo laughed, "Just be casual. Xiaoyun is younger, so she should call Qing Ru Big Sister." Hearing this, Qing Ru didn't object anymore. The four sat down at the second floor. Mu Xiaoyun took out the best immortal spirit tea to treat them. "Dao-friendly show, how did you guys come to the divine Dao realm? How were you chased by the Du Ting God sect?" Yemo asked. "Divine Dao realm? Isn't this called the God Necropolis domain?" Qing Ru asked in confusion. Yemo laughed. "I used to think this was the God Necropolis domain, but later, I realized it was the divine Dao broken realm. God Necropolis domain is just a simple way of calling it, as there really is a place in the divine Dao broken realm called God Necropolis domain. One can vindicate Dao at the God Necropolis domain, so many people called the divine Dao broken realm the God Necropolis domain." Li Xiu didn't care about this and sighed, "Immortal friend Yi. Now I realized that the low heaven domain sect leader who suggested to seal the formation from immortal realm to the divine Dao realm was you." Yemo nodded. "That's right. It's indeed me." Li Xiu got up and bowed to Yemo. "Immortal friend Yi has made insurmountable contributions to the immortal realm. Please accept my bow." Yemo quickly held her and said, "Regardless of which way, Big Palace Lord exceeds Yemo far greater. Big Palace Lord came from the seal. Is there a problem with the seal?" "I came for this," Li Xiu said seriously. "When I vindicated Dao, I was planning to take Qing Ru to the 33 heaven domains for trial, but then I heard about the tunnel from immortal realm to the divine Dao realm. Many immortal emperors used the tunnel to come to the divine Dao realm for Dao vindication. When I came to the tunnel, I found the formation seal was loosening. The immortal realm qi was spilling, and even at the divine Dao realm, I can sense the immortal realm qi." Yemo nodded. He knew that seal was only temporary. "I'm worried. No one can seal this formation again in the immortal realm. I'm an immortal formation grandmaster, and I vindicated Dao, so I have to intervene in this situation." Yemo immediately asked, "Did Big Palace Lord come to the divine Dao realm to learn formation to seal that tunnel again?" Li Xiu nodded. "I thought so indeed, so I brought Qing Ru to the divine Dao realm, but when I came here I found I was too naive. In the immortal realm I was a formation grandmaster, but in the divine Dao realm, I'm nothing. I can't completely seal the formation." Yemo knew what she meant. She wouldn't be able to learn divine Dao realm formation means in a short while. She couldn't even afford the God crystals and the God spirit range needed to seal the formation. "I took Qing Ru around for a few years and found this place was covered in ravines and broken laws. It was extremely hard to learn formation. But at this moment we saw the clone of Du Ting God sect leader. He was Dao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak Stage, and his clone was very terrifying. When he saw Qing Ru, he wanted Qing Ru to be his cultivation slave and help him reach Dao Essence Divine Emperor. Thank you, Big Palace Lord." Yemo got up and saluted with his fists to the Big Palace Lord. He respected someone as selfless as Li Xiu. Li Xiu asked, "Immortal friend Yi, did you think the same as me?" Emo nodded, yes, but now we not only have to seal the chi, but truly seal that tunnel too. Emo had been in the divine Tao realm longer than these two. He knew that many powerful beings of the divine Tao realm already knew of Immortal Realm's tunnel, but they didn't want to enter the Immortal Realm from the tunnel. However, not all people thought like this. Li Xiu sighed pity. One not only needed the best formation skills, but also large amounts of god crystals and formation materials to seal the tunnel. Emo laughed, Big Palace Lord, don't worry. I've made plenty of preparations for sealing the tunnel. I have all the materials ready. As for the formation means, I can't completely seal the tunnel yet, but I can seal it for a few thousand years. Plus, such formation probably needs God's spirit range. Li Xiu got up and grabbed Emo's hand in excitement. Immortal friend Yi, you can really do it? Master. Qing Ru called, seeing her master being too excited, and grabbed Emo's hand. Li Xiu reacted and didn't mind. Although my cultivation level is far weaker than Immortal friend Yi, I'm much older than Immortal friend Yi. Emo said, no matter in which regard, Big Palace Lord is my Qianbei. As for formation materials and God spirit range, don't worry. I've prepared it already and I can do it. Great. This is great. Li Xiu was very excited. She was in despair when she knew that she couldn't seal the tunnel. Now that Emo said he could do it, one could imagine how excited she was. Finally, there was someone in the Immortal Realm who could control the situation and didn't need to rely on a woman. Emo let her sit down and continued, I was planning to leave the city. If you didn't come, I was going to leave in a few days. Qing Ru said in fear, good thing we came to the city 2 days early. Master felt there was a chance of survival here. Does Immortal friend Yi want to go to the sealing grounds? Li Xiu asked. Emo thought and said, I'm indeed going there to seal the formation again. But this is just one thing. After I'm done with that, I'm going to the Void Marketplace. I was troubled with how I was going to set the formation seal to how I planned it, but now that Big Palace Lord is here, you can help me a little. Brother Yi, what formation do you want to set it as? Qing Ru asked in confusion. Emo answered, I want to completely seal the tunnel to the Immortal Realm, but not completely seal the tunnel to the Divine Tao Realm. At least, it should let immortals who reach Immortal Emperor to be able to enter the Divine Tao Realm but can't come back to the Immortal Realm. The Immortal Realm is just like the Cultivation Realm. Once the cultivator of the Cultivation Realm reaches a level, they can Immortal ascend, but they can't go back to the Cultivation Realm so easily from the Immortal Realm. This can be done? Qing Ru asked in shock. Li Xiu looked at Emo in disbelief. To be able to do this, it meant that Emo's formation skills were at a new level. This wasn't a simple formation, it was a realm formation. Emo smiled, if I were to set it up alone, I can't do it, but there's a formation base there. I'm just adding to the base. This would be hundreds of times easier. Even so, it's still amazing. How do you need me to help, Immortal friend Yi? Li Xiu sighed. Emo hesitated and said, I was weak before, so I couldn't see the essence of that formation. Now that my cultivation level and formation skills are much higher, I can barely understand the secret of that formation. When I set it up, I might need Big Palace Lord to go back to the Immortal Realm entrance and assist me. I would have to go there and see first. Li Xiu said, sure. Emo gave a jade slip to Li Xiu, Big Palace Lord. These are some of my formation experiences, you can have a look. Thank you, Immortal friend Yi. Li Xiu didn't check the jade slip immediately but put it away instead. Then she looked at Emo and asked, Where's the Void Marketplace you talked about? Emo didn't hide anything and told her everything he knew. Hearing this, Li Xiu sighed, if you don't leave the Immortal Realm, how can you know that Tao Vindication is just the beginning? The Void Marketplace has all the talents gathered. I believe even Tao Essence Divine Emperor are just ordinary there. Emo agreed. Ever since he got the Golden Page World, he had always been invincible amongst his peers. Before Tao Vindication, he thought that his talent was far weaker than those pure spirit roots. But after Tao Vindication, he realized that talents wasn't the greatest barrier to cultivation. If you got the most suitable cultivation method for yourself, then even if you're a mixed spirit root, your cultivation speed might not be slower than those pure spirit roots. Immortal friend Yi, I have a favor to ask. Li Xiu got up and said, Big Palace Lord, please speak. Emo said. Li Xiu pulled Qingru's hand and said, if it's convenient for you, can you bring Qingru when you go to the Void Marketplace? When I go back to the Immortal Realm and help Immortal Friend Yi set up the formation, I've decided to guard the Immortal Realm entrance and not enter the Divine Dao Realm again. In that case, the one I'm worried about the most is Qingru. Qingru can't guard the entrance with me and her power is weak. She can't roam the Immortal Realm alone. Emo was troubled and said, I can take her to the Void Marketplace, but there are strong people everywhere in the Void Marketplace. Even I might die. Li Xiu said calmly, if cultivators always worried about dying, then their mind state isn't right. There's no point to cultivation. Qingru will understand this. If Immortal Friend Yi is willing to take her there, then even if she dies, you're not to blame. Emo looked at the red-eyed Qingru who didn't speak. He was still a bit troubled. It was because Qingru's power was too weak. She was only great extreme immortal, but he couldn't really reject such thing. Li Xiu was this selfless. He couldn't reject her. Thinking about Nie Shuangshuang, Emo wondered why people from the same sect were so different. Qingru got up and said, if Brother Yi is willing to take Qingru to the Void Marketplace, Qingru is will to go venture there with Brother Yi. Master, take care. 3 days later, the Luo Yu pill forgery shop closed and Emo and them left the city in MD God Artifact space-time boat. With Li Xiu leading the way and Yemo's middle-grade flying God Artifact, the two estimated that it would only take them less than a year to reach the entrance of the Immortal Realm. As soon as Emo left the city, a trailing light chased over. Emo knew that if he activated the space-time boat with full power, that light wouldn't be able to catch up to him, but his spirit sense saw that the light belonged to the Du Ting God sect, so he stopped the space-time boat. The Du Ting God sect people are chasing over? Li Xiu asked. Emo nodded, that's right. He's the Du Ting God sect Dao Actualization Divine Emperor peak stage. Moments later, that light landed before Yemo's space-time boat. It was a flying cart. It was near MD God Artifact. There was a long-bearded man standing on top, Dao Actualization Divine Emperor peak stage power. Emo knew this was the Du Ting God sect leader. You kill 2 of my Du Ting God sect Divine Emperors. The man said coldly. Emo laughed, you're wrong. Other than those 2, I killed 2 more Immortal Emperors. I was planning to let this Ji Chuan Immortal Emperor leave and wanted him to take me to the Du Ting God sect, but I didn't want to waste time, so I killed him. Emo indeed wanted to go annihilate Du Ting God sect and use their resources to set up the formation. After he discussed with Li Xiu, he felt that he had enough resources, so he gave up on the idea. After all, he wasn't alone now. He still took a big crowd of people with him. Even Fu Fei didn't stay in the city. Humph! The Dao Actualization Divine Emperor sneered and released an eye-piercing magic artifact. Emo saw this was a flag, an extreme Yang flag. I will see how insane you are. How dare you kill my Du Ting God sect Divine Emperor. If you can survive under my Jai extreme Yang flag for 5 minutes, I'll let you live and be my slave. The flag pressed down at Emo like countless suns. Emo pushed space-time boat away with one leg and smashed out 36 lightning sea god orbs. Even Emo didn't dare to stop this flag with his body. If he was divine body, he might try, but he wasn't there yet. They were both Dao Actualization Divine Emperors, but this person was much stronger than the Great Sun God Mountain Dao Actualization Divine Emperor he killed. The 36 lightning sea god orbs swept up lightning with Emo ebbing the center and formed a lightning barrier. The lightning barrier also shot out countless lightning arcs and strikes. The thick lightning arcs smashed with the flag, exploding out huge space ripples. Emo seemed to be the center of lightning, while this Dao Actualization Divine Emperor seemed to be an extreme Yang whirlpool. Rumble, rumble. The explosion turned the surrounding into oblivion. 36 lightning sea god orbs. The Dao Actualization Divine Emperor retreated a few km and stared at the 36 lightning sea god orbs in shock. Emo praised this Dao Actualization Divine Emperor. He was much stronger than both the Great Sun God Mountain Dao Actualization Divine Emperor and Ji Sini of the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. He used the 36 lightning sea god orbs and only barely had the upper hand. If it was Ji Sini, he would be able to smash out Zisu again. Just in that clash, Emo realized why he wanted Qingru to be his cultivation slave. His cultivation method and magic artifact were extreme yang. However, it wasn't pure. He needed an extreme virgin to be a cultivation sex slave, otherwise, he would burn himself to death. Yimo's 3-birth chant created many cultivation method and he immediately realized this. At the same time, Shadowless forced the space-time boat to retreat. Li Xiu stared at this in shock. She didn't feel much when Yimo fought with that Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. She knew Yimo was stronger than her but didn't have any direct impression. Now that Yimo battled this Dao Actualization Divine Emperor, the powerful lightning arcs and the extreme yang light made her unable to even get close. This Dao Actualization Divine Emperor peak stage was more than tens of times stronger than his clone. At this moment, Li Xiu felt even more that it was beneficial to Qingru to send her out for adventure. Master, I understand. Qingru thought that her master told her to go with Yimo to increase her knowledge and get benefits from Yimo. Now, she realized what her master meant. If you didn't go with someone strong and experience countless battles, you would forever live at the bottom of a well. Just looking at how strong Yimo was, she knew that he had gone through countless battles. Only if you kept fighting strong people could you stand at the peak. No bad, have a look at my Falling Mark Sword Rune. Yimo released Zisu. Falling Mark Sword Rune was very powerful, but its weakness was that Zisu's level was too low. If Zisu was a higher level, his Falling Mark Sword Rune would be even stronger. The Dao Actualization Divine Emperor's face changed. The extreme yang flag shot out tens of thousands of extreme yang rays. At the same time, a black bow appeared on his hand and a golden arrow appeared too. Golden Arrow of Divine Extermination. Yimo's eyes narrowed and all his muscles tensed up. He knew that black bow wasn't the golden bow of divine extermination, but it was no ordinary bow. Even the most ordinary bow shooting the golden arrow of divine extermination was extremely powerful. Space fissures appeared as the arrow shot out. This invisible space binding came towards Yimo. It seemed to about to bind Yimo completely. Yimo's heart squeezed. It had always been him who locked others with this arrow. Now he was on the receiving end. The arrow arrived instantly. At this moment, Yimo didn't have the time to release the golden bow of divine extermination to stop this arrow. Screech. The 36 lightning sea god orbs was powerful, but Yimo didn't completely control it. The arrow tore open the 36 lightning sea god orbs barrier and came before him. Instant second, Yimo stared at the arrow. He was certain this Dao Actualization Divine Emperor had controlled more than 100 levels of restriction of the golden arrow of divine extermination, maybe even 102. If this Dao Actualization Divine Emperor used the golden bow of divine extermination to shoot this arrow, Yimo doubted if he could even dodge it in a rush. Invisible ripples spread in the space. In one blink, spring, summer, autumn and winter. In one blink, instant and eternity. This was instant second god art. The golden arrow paused in space as though it was frozen. It was only one instant, but all Yimo needed was this one instant. It was enough for him to release his punch, Shatter Sky. Shatter Space brought the fist force space and smashed with the golden bone arrow, exploding out golden light. The fist force instantly dissipated and the gone arrow lost its terrifying lethal force. Even so, it still tore open Yimo's fist and brought out bloody mist. Yimo immediately grabbed this golden bone arrow and sent it into his golden page world. Only now did Yimo realize how terrifying Truth Divine Emperor was. That guy had no magic artifact and dodged 4 of his arrows. If Truth Divine Emperor was in the Void Marketplace, he would definitely be on the god rank. The Dao Actualization Divine Emperor saw Yimo use Time Law God Art to take his golden bone arrow and his face changed. People have dodged his golden bone arrow before, but never have someone dodged it and taken it. He couldn't even find with his spirit sense where the arrow was. When he shot this arrow, he knew that he wouldn't be able to kill Yimo with it. He wanted to use this arrow to regain control of the battle, but instead there was such a huge turn of events. The price Yimo paid was just a broken fist. A broken fist wasn't even an injury to a divine emperor. The Dao Actualization Divine Emperor immediately realized that he was no match for Yimo, but now, Yimo's Falling Mark Sword Rune had landed. A purple sword rune twisted the space and together with Yimo's Divine Emperor domain, It bound everything in this space. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor who was planning to fight with Yi no longer saw this sword rune and completely gave up that thought. His flag swept up the extreme yang rays and he was ready to leave. He wasn't worried. He believed that if he wanted to go, Yi no couldn't stop him. Before Yi no could keep attacking with Zisu, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor said, "Wait, I admit I'm no match for you. If you give me back that bone arrow, our conflicts are over and I will compensate you some god crystals." "Give it back." "Sure. I'll give it back to you multiple times." Then, Yi no released the golden bow of divine extermination and placed an arrow on the bow. Golden bow of divine extermination. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor could no longer stay calm as he called out in shock and terror. Just like Yi no, he knew the golden bow and arrow of divine extermination very well. He won ECT. The world was this small. He just used the arrow to shoot Yi no, and Yi no immediately used the same thing to retaliate but more ferociously. He didn't dare to stay here one bit. He knew that if he was locked on by the golden bow of divine extermination, he would have to die. But just when he used his mobility technique, Yi no shot the arrow that locked onto him instantly. Thud. The first arrow smashed the flag and golden light dispersed. Clearly, in order to dodge this arrow, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor gave up his most treasured magic artifact. Before he could breathe easy, the second and third arrow came at the same time. "You have more than one." The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor realized this as the arrows came before him. He could only burn his life force to barely escape the binding. In another thud, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor moved aside a bit, but the arrow destroyed half his body. Then the third arrow came to him. "Just a bit?" The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor said in despair. It was just that one bit and he would be able to leave using his mobility technique. In an explosion, this extremely cocky Tao Actualization Divine Emperor turned to bloody mist, killed by Yi no's third arrow. Blood light flashed into the sky. Even the nearby space was immersed in heat waves. One could see just how terrifying this Tao Actualization Divine Emperor's cultivation method was. Yi no grabbed his storage ring and scanned his spirit sense in. He really wanted to know how many good things the sect leader of a god sect had. When Yi no opened this storage ring and scanned his spirit sense in, he was astounded. This wasn't a storage ring, this was a small world. There were 3 top-grade God Spirit range, 7 middle-grade God Spirit range, and more than 10 low-grade God Spirit range. As for forgery materials and God Spirit herbs, they were stacked up in mountains. There were more than tens of millions of God crystals. So amazing! Yi no took in a cold breath. He thought he had a lot of things, but compared to this Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, he was a peasant. The Duting God sect wasn't even one of the 3 big divine sections. This storage ring definitely wasn't all of the asset of the Duting God sect. One could imagine just how wealthy the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect and Great Sun God Mountain were. But Yi no shook his head. The Duting God sect leader was only a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, while the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect and Great Sun God Mountain had Tao Essence Divine Emperors. He couldn't think about those things now. "Congratulations, immortal friend Yi. Li Xiu didn't expect your power to be this strong. I can finally rest assured for Qing Ru to adventure with you." Li Xiu sighed. Yi no's power was indeed shocking. She had guessed that Yi no was only Tao Molding Divine Emperor or Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, but with this cultivation level, Yi no could kill a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. This was insane. It was reasonable for an Immortal Emperor primary stage to kill an Immortal Emperor middle stage, but a Tao Molding Divine Emperor killing Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was extremely terrifying. The difference between Tao Molding Divine Emperor and Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was greater than Immortal Emperor and Immortal Monarch. Yi no saluted with his fists. "Big Palace Lord, don't know that the Void Marketplace has many powerful people. It's different to the Immortal Realm. I heard there was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor who killed a Tao Essence Divine Emperor in the Void Marketplace. Such terrifying gap is something I didn't dare to imagine before. If I faced a Tao Essence Divine Emperor now, I can only run away. Big Palace Lord, you can have this flying god artifact. I have too many of such things." Yi no pointed at the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor's flying god artifact. She knew that Yemo's magic artifact were powerful and so she didn't reject it. Seeing this, Yemo was very happy. He had things he needed her to do for him. 8 months later, they came to that barren wasteland again. When Yemo came here, he was only Immortal Emperor and his formation skills were just introductory to the Divine Tao Realm formation level. He only saw barren wilderness before and no tunnel. Yemo had studied formation for a few hundred years in the time formation disk just to seal this formation. When he came here, he immediately found the seal. In time, this seal would only get more obvious. Even ordinary Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor would be able to see it. I just know it's here, but I have no way of going in, much less sealing it up again. Li Xiu sighed. Yemo knew her feeling. He felt the same before. Master and Brother Yi need to set up formation. Why don't everyone come to my blue bead world to prevent affecting them? Qing Ru said. Yemo wanted to let everyone go to his golden page world, but now that Qing Ru said this, he didn't reject it. When everyone went in and Yemo took the blue bead, he took Li Xiu to another place. 2 hours later, they came into a mist. Now, Yemo just threw out a few formation flags and cut open to a bright dimension. 3 months later, Yemo has set the new sealing formation method. He made piles of formation flags. Mountains of materials were turned into formation flags. A year later, Yemo looked at the pile of formation flags and rejoiced that he encountered the Du Ting God's sect leader. Otherwise, with the materials he prepared, it wouldn't even be enough to forge even half of the formation flags. Li Xiu was helping Yemo on the side too, organizing the formation flag types. The two didn't say much, but they were getting more and more worried. They thought that the formation would last decades, but they could visibly see the formation flags deteriorating. With this speed, the formation could completely break in 3 to 5 years, and the tunnel between Immortal Realm to the Divine Tao Realm would completely open. Seeing Yemo only make formation flags, Li Xiu couldn't resist asking, Immortal Friend Yi, why don't you set up a few formation flags to stabilize the formation first? Yemo shook his head. No, if I set up formation flags now, it would be pointless. It would cause trouble for when we set up the formation. Yemo's formation skills were much higher than Li Xiu's. He knew that this formation base was complete. If he repaired the formation on there now, it would damage the formation base. Once he made all the formation flags and set up the formation again, he would damage the base again. Yemo didn't want to do this. Although the formation was about to collapse, Yemo believed that as long as he was here, ordinary people wouldn't be able to go to the Immortal Realm. Unless a Tao Essence Divine Emperor came, but to Yemo, real Tao Essence Divine Emperors or even Tao Actualization Divine Emperors wouldn't even want to go to a lower realm. 2 years later, Yemo finished the last formation flag and found that he had pretty much no materials left. Yemo breathed easy. He finally finished all the formation flags before the formation collapsed. He gave some formation flags to Li Xiu and a formation jade slip. Big Palace Lord, when you go to the Immortal Realm, just do according to this jade slip. Li Xiu took it and nodded. Yemo waved out a few more formation flags and a clear tunnel appeared in the mist. Seeing Yemo open up a portal to the Immortal Realm so easily, she was very shocked. Immortal Friend Yi, is there anything else you need me to do? Li Xiu didn't go in immediately and asked. Yemo thanked that Li Xiu was smart. He took out a storage ring and gave it to her. Big Palace Lord. There are some God crystals and 2 low-grade God spirit ranges inside and some of my cultivation experience. It's for you. Li Xiu thanked and took the storage ring. She knew that some of the God crystals were for the formation, the rest were for her. Yemo took out another blue bead and gave it to Li Xiu. This is a small world I spirit controlled. If you have time to go to Gonghua Heaven Mou Immortal Sect, please give this to my wife Luoying. This bead was no small world. It was the truth spirit world he got from the purple-robed Immortal Emperor. Yemo placed many things inside, including the storage ring for Yiling, Beiwei, and Xianxia. He gave it to Luoying as Luoying was like a big sister to them all. No one would think more because Luoying had extra things in her hand. Li Xiu took the bead and bowed to Yemo. Thank you, Immortal Friend Yi. Li Xiu will definitely get this done. Only Li Xiu knew why she was doing something for Yemo and still thanked him. Yemo could have gone back to the Immortal Realm himself, but he chose not to as that would take time and the formation was about to collapse. Yemo knew what she thought, but he didn't completely think like that. He left an opening for the new formation, but it was very costly to leave this opening. He used a Wuxia secret gold. It was the highest level formation material and Yemo only had this one piece. He used this just so he had the chance to go back to the immortal realm from here. However, he had too little and could only make 3 formation flags with it. 2 of them connected to the formation and 1 opened the formation. The formation can only be used once, so he only had 1 chance to return to the immortal realm. When he came back from the void marketplace, he could use this formation flag to return to the immortal realm. This formation was about to collapse, so he didn't have time to go back to the MOU immortal sect. Compared to the immortal realm, he wanted to go visit the void marketplace even more. Seeking an opportunity to reach Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor was one primary reason, but another purpose was that he heard there were people from the abyssal realm at the void marketplace. He wanted to ask if he could get Wanqing's soul from the abyssal realm. Yemo knew that his power was too weak for the abyssal realm. Even primordial essence Divine Emperor Duanmu Yuebwa died from the abyssal realm. Then Li Xiu will leave first. Li Xiu bowed to Yemo and said. Before Yemo could speak, a figure charged into the dark mist. Someone is here already? The person saw Yemo and Li Xiu and was a little shocked, but then he saw that both Yemo and Li Xiu were far weaker than him. Yemo immediately realized that it was right of him to not go back to MOU Immortal Sect. This was a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. If he went back, Li Xiu was definitely no match for this person. This person would charge into the immortal realm again. Piss off. This man hacked a red beam at Yemo. Yemo was going to kill this man regardless. Yemo sneered and punched. Shatter Space God Art swept the space lethal force, which instant swept away the red beam and locked onto the Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Dao Actualization Divine Emperor. The Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor immediately felt his surroundings were locked as he called out in shock. Despite the Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor underestimating Yemo, he still broke free from the fist force lock and released a huge blue bowl. Clank. The bowl was smashed by Yemo's fist force, shaking ripples out of the nearby space. The Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor released the bowl by force but couldn't completely activate it, and it was punched away. He was smashed by the powerful fist force and spat a few mouthfuls of blood as he flew back. Before he could speak, Yemo waved his hand and 5 lightning spear destruction struck down. The Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor was torn to pieces. Li Xiu was scared. If this Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor used the tunnel to get to the immortal realm, then with how he slaughtered without saying anything, the entire immortal realm would turn into his truth spirit world. Big Palace Lord. The ceiling formation is broken and more people will come. Go back to the immortal realm now and we'll set up formation. Yemo took the storage ring and said, Okay. Li Xiu will wait for immortal friend Ye's good news in the immortal realm. Li Xiu said and entered the formation. Ninghai was now a famous city in China purely because a legend Yemo once lived here. In an ancient street, there was an old Taoist fortune teller saying, Your fortune luck hasn't arrived yet. Go back and eat some more sweet potatoes. 3 years later you might. The old man suddenly got up in surprise and joy and looked at the distant sky. Great, the formation seal is repaired. If it's you, then I chose right. Then he ignored the middle-aged man and packed up the stall to leave. Hey, you haven't finished yet. But no matter how the middle-aged man called, the Taoist ignored him and disappeared amongst the crowd in a few minutes. Yemo's space-time boat had left the immortal realm tunnel now. Mu Xiaoyun, Qing Ru and them were on the space-time boat. Even small ginseng came out. Including Yemo, there were 7 people on this. Yemo felt very good. He wanted to seal this formation before he even came to the divine Dao realm. Now that he finally did it, he would be at Gonghua heaven already if he wasn't going to the void marketplace. Going to the void marketplace wasn't a matter of a day or 2. Yemo couldn't use the teleportation formation here. He was prepared to fly long-term. Now that everyone was chatting here, Yemo was happy to share his cultivation experience with everyone. Brother Yi, if it wasn't for you, I might never be able to wake up from the ice god forbidden grounds. Qing Ru sighed again. Yemo had an approximate guess why there would be those frozen girls in the ice god forbidden grounds. Qing Ru didn't explain and Yemo didn't ask. He felt that Qingru despised that thing too. Emo was a bit sad thinking that he saved Qingru with the Heaven Heart Return Soul pill because Qingru had a sliver of soul left. However, Wanqing's soul had dissipated. Even that pill wouldn't work. Seeing Emo was a bit sad, Qingru thought he was thinking about the Ice God Palace trapping him with the Ice God formation. Just when she wanted to comfort Emo, she heard Emo suddenly say, "Shadowless, stop the space-time boat. We'll go down and have a look." Marshall's sister Runin, long time no see. Emo walked out of the space-time boat. One of the three was the dark-skinned Nyo Runin. Before, she said that she was going to leave the Hung God Comer, so seeing her still here, Emo felt a bit strange. "Your Marshall brother Emo." Nyo Runin immediately recognized Emo. "Why are you still here?" Nyo Runin saw the extremely beautiful Qingru and Mu Xiaoyun and asked. She knew that Emo offended too many people here. Emo should be going as far away as possible. "Don't worry about why I'm here. I'm asking why you haven't left yet." Emo had a good impression of her. She helped him a lot when he first came to the Divine Tao realm. "You have no business here, move aside." The two men with Nyo Runin yelled to Emo. If it wasn't that Emo was no weaker than them, they would have attacked. Emo could tell these two stopped Nyo Runin. He knew that Nyo Runin wouldn't start trouble for no reason, so he raised his palm and slapped over. The man who just spoke was slapped a kilometer away onto a small hill, blasting it to pieces. Nyo Runin knew Emo was powerful, but she didn't expect Emo became this powerful. She looked dazedly at Emo and forgot to speak. The other immortal emperor reacted and immediately said, "We're from the Hung God Comer. Qian Bei attacked without reason, we..." Before the immortal emperor finished, he was slapped away by Emo again into the other immortal emperor. Both of them couldn't get up. Two immortal emperors were the peak of the immortal realm, but under Emo's hands, they were worse than insects. Nyo Runin reacted and looked gratefully at Emo. "When I left the Muhua God Mountain, I left the Hung God Corner. Then, I saw my mother at Shui Yun God Domain." "Didn't your mother leave you when you were young?" Emo asked. Nyo Runin nodded, "Yes. Later I realized that my mother had no choice. When I saw my mother again, I lived happily with her. But at this moment something happened. When we went out, we found a Heaven Life Tao fruit." Emo asked, "Isn't this a good thing? It can help you learn life and vindicate Tao." Nyo Runin sighed. "This was a good thing, but both of us had no experience in taking Tao fruit. We didn't immediately bind the Tao fruit, causing its Tao waves to seep outside. This caught others' attention and drew over a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. That Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor robbed our Tao fruit but left the chi of the Tao fruit. This brought over the people of the Hung God Corner. They took away my mother and told me to bring over the Tao fruit I hid. But where can I go find it? I have no Tao fruit." Qingru sighed. "The Hung God Corner didn't search by force?" Nyo Runin said nothing, but Emo sneered. "Know that young mistress wants to preserve her reputation. If Nyo Runin didn't get back the Tao fruit, there would be forced search waiting for her." Qingru smiled and didn't argue. "Let's go. I'll go with you to the Hung God Corner," Emo said. The Hung God Corner was nothing to him now. Nyo Runin looked at Emo in shock. "Marshall brother Yi. The Hung God Corner might have Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Even if they don't, they definitely have Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor." To Nyo Runin, Emo was strong, but he wasn't a Divine Emperor yet. How could he mess with the Hung God Comer? "Don't worry, the young mistress owes me. I believe she would show me some face." Emo comforted. Nyo Runin nodded. The Hung God Corner was the same as when Emo came back last time. It was still like a small village. Shadowless, Small Ginseng and Chorang were sent into the Golden Page world. Mu Xiaoyun, Qingru and Fu Fei flew before the God Corner with Emo. The two guards clearly knew Nyo Runin. Seeing Nyo Runin bring Emo and them, they said nothing and let them in. The strongest of them was only an immortal emperor. "Runin, who are they?" A pretty green-robed woman appeared. Emo knew this woman, of course. She was the young mistress of the Hung God Corner. She only knew Emo but didn't know the three behind him. When her eyes fell on Qingru, she was very shocked of Qingru's looks. She had always been confident in her looks, but in front of Qing Ru, she felt embarrassed about herself. Qing Ru's perfect body and face was like the embodiment of beauty. Even Mu Xiaoyun was better than her. Young mistress, you know Yimo. The other three are Yimo's friends. Niu Runan said. Hung Wanman said calmly, in that case, let's go in first. Runan. Don't worry, I will definitely help you. Yimo sneered, definitely help? Then you wouldn't lock up her mother. Since when was her mother locked up? She's a guest at the Hung God Comer. Hung Wanman's face looked bad. Yimo didn't sell the God Heart Stone to her and even took her lightning sound ages fruit. Now that he came to the Hung God Corner, don't blame her then. She suspected Yimo had powerful means, but what happened before made her feel even more that Yimo was with those guys. That's why she could escape. Even if Yimo was truly strong and the strongest half-divine, he would have to be obedient in front of the Hung God Comer Divine Emperors. There were 2 Tao Nourishment Divine Emperors and 2 Tao Molding Divine Emperor in the palace. There were also a few Immortal Emperors and a white-robed woman whose brows were locked in a frown. The atmosphere here was strange. At this moment, the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor sitting at the top took out a communication bead and looked at it before laughing. Runan is back and brought that Yimo half-divine. One of her lightning sound ages fruit was taken by this person. It seems he has come to return the fruit. He was laughing as he spoke, but the killing intent in his eyes were obvious. Runan. That white-robed woman saw Niu Runan come and her eyes dimmed. She knew that both of them wouldn't be able to get away. When she saw Qing Ru and Mu Xiaoyun, she sighed. How could women like them get away when they came to the Hung God Corner? Yimo saw Niu Runan's mother. She wore white robes and was very pretty. He was speechless. This woman looked younger and prettier than Niu Runan. Her skin was much whiter too. Not only that, she was a Tao Molding Divine Emperor too. You're Yimo, the one who took the lightning sound ages fruit from Wanman. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor who spoke before said. Yimo sat down and told Qing Ru and them to sit before saying, that's right. I'm Yimo, but I didn't take the ages fruit. I made a deal with the young mistress. The other Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor sneered. He was very unhappy that a mere immortal emperor dared to be this cocky. Made a deal? What could an immortal emperor have to deal with my lightning sound ages fruit? Hung Wanman said in contempt. Yimo suddenly looked at Hung Wanman and said, I've seen many shameless women, but someone as shameless as you is a first. How could Yimo not know what she meant? She wanted to regret. She completely cast aside him, helping her suppress that half-divine. You're asking to die. A Tao Molding Divine Emperor suddenly got up and was about to attack Yimo. Yimo sneered. He wanted to talk nicely and help Niu Runan find the Heaven Fate Tao fruit, but since the Hung God Corner couldn't even wait, then he would fight. Stop! A sneer sounded from the palace and 2 men came out of the door. They were both Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Yimo immediately recognized the latter man. He was the city lord of Luanlan Divine Tao City Dong, and Yimo gave him a Tao fruit and he got large amounts of useful information from him. He thought Dongan was in solitary cultivation or at the God Necropolis domain to break through to Tao Essence Divine Emperor. This is Great Sun God Mountain Elder Dong, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, who came in with Dong and said. The people of the Hung God Corner immediately got up to bow. The Great Sun God Mountain was the most dominant sect right now. Who didn't know this? The Hung God Comer Tao Actualization Divine Emperor saw that Yimo and them didn't get up and was about to rage. He stopped the Tao Molding Divine Emperor because he didn't want to be rude in front of the Great Sun God Mountain Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. However, this little immortal emperor really needs a beating. The Great Sun God Mountain Tao Actualization Divine Emperor was here and he dares to keep sitting. Dongan saw Yimo and immediately smiled as he walked up to Yimo and saluted with his fists. So Tower Master Yi is here too. It's really my honor to see Tower Master Yi here. So it's Castle Master Dong. It's indeed a fortunate encounter. Yimo got up and saluted with his fists. The palace immediately fell silent. What place was the Great Sun God Mountain? Many people didn't know originally, but when they reopened their sect, the entire divine Tao realm knows now. They were one of the 3 divine sects and was stronger than the immortal goddess sacred sect before. Now, they even suppressed Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect into submission. Such a sect's Tao actualization divine emperor was like the highest emperor of a god corner. Yet this person went up to Yemo to greet him. Was Yemo this mere immortal emperor that powerful? That hung god corner Tao actualization divine emperor primary stage immediately reacted. The immortal emperor definitely wasn't ordinary or dong and wouldn't be this polite. Realizing this, his anger dissipated immediately and walked over to Yemo and saluted with his fists. Hung Ran is very honored that Tower Master Yi can come to my hung god corner. He didn't know what Tower Master Yemo was, but since Dong and called him this, he could only follow. But Yemo didn't show him any face and said coldly, really? If it wasn't for Castle Master Dong, perhaps people of the hung god corner would have attacked me already. Hung Rail's face dazed. He didn't expect Yemo to lash out like this. He was a Tao actualization divine emperor, and no matter how high Yemo's status was, he was only an immortal emperor. Yemo continued after a while, you probably wouldn't feel honored because I came to the hung god corner to look for trouble today. If I'm unhappy, I will kill people today. Before Hung Rail's face just dazed, but now, Yemo's words made him furious. Even if the great sun god mountain Tao actualization divine emperor elder was angry, he would teach him a lesson. His face went green, and then he saluted with his fists to Dong and Castle Master Dong. Where does this Tower Master Yi come from? If the hung god corner mistreated him, we can make up for it. Hung Ran was really furious. His words meant that he could not touch Yemo on Castle Master Dong's account. But if Yemo didn't have any special relations with the great sun god mountain, then he would go up to get revenge. Dong didn't seem to understand this and smiled. Tower Master Yi opened a pill and forgery divine tower at Luanlan Divine Dao City. He's probably roaming around now. If immortal friend Hung wants to compensate, you would probably not find an opportunity. Dong sneered inside. Hung Ran was just a Tao actualization divine emperor of the Hung God Comer, and he was only Tao actualization divine emperor primary stage. Yemo wasn't even scared of him and killed the sect leader of the Du Ting God sect. Hung Ran was really a piece of cake to Yemo. Hung Ran heard this and his face changed. How could he not understand Dong's words? This definitely wasn't sarcasm. He really needed to make compensations. Just who was this Tower Master Yi? Wait, Luanlan Divine Dao City, Pill and Forgery Divine Tower Master? Immediately, Hung Ran understood who Yemo was. His face went pale as he saluted with his fists to Yemo. Tower Master Yi, are you the Tower Master of the Luanlan Divine Dao City? Luo Yu Pill and Forgery Divine Tower? With this, everyone in the palace realized what was going on. Those two Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor and Tao Molding Divine Emperor's face went pale. Clearly, they knew who Yemo was. A few years ago, Yemo killed the sect leader of Du Ting God sect, Wei Xian, outside the Luanlan Divine Dao City. His ferocious name had spread. Who was Wei Xian? He was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor peak stage and was about to reach Tao Essence Divine Emperor. He was very powerful. Ordinary Tao Actualization Divine Emperor tertiary stages were nothing to him, and yet such a person wanted revenge against Tower Master Yi and was killed outside the city. News spread slowly in the Divine Tao realm, but this news was already known by all the nearby people. His Hung God Corner was nothing compared to the Du Ting God sect. Yemo killed their sect leader and they didn't do anything to Yemo. Now, his Hung God Comer wanted to keep Yemo. This was suicide. The Tao Molding Divine Emperor who wanted to attack Yemo sweated cold. He knew that if Yemo wanted to kill him, even the Grand Sect leader couldn't protect him. Please sit, please sit. Hung Ran's heart shook while he ordered, bring the best wine of our Hung God Corner. I need to treat Elder Dong and Tower Master Yi. Dong smiled and said nothing. He sat not far from Yemo. Hung Wanman's face was purple. She didn't expect this Yemo was that powerful. He even killed Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. In the Divine Tao realm, who could kill Tao Actualization Divine Emperor? Yemo killed the Du Ting God sect leader? Nyo Runan's mother was more cunning and immediately realized this. She quickly dragged Nyo Runan to sit next to Yemo and poured a cup of wine to Yemo. She glanced seductively at Yemo and said, Tower Master Yi is Runan's friend. Xianxia thanked Tower Master Ye's help towards Runan. Then, She drank the wine and looked seductively at Yemo. Yemo was speechless. Nyo Runin was such a good person. Why did she have such a mother? Nyo Runin was so embarrassed that her head was almost at her leg. Haha, I heard a friend has come to the Hung God Comer. I've come to celebrate. I hope the friend won't disappoint me. A figure appeared at the palace door. Zhu Guangxi immediately saw Yemo at the door. He came here as he got news of Yemo. When he saw Yemo, killing intent flashed across his eyes, but then he looked shocked as Dong En was here too. Greetings, Castle Master Dong. I didn't expect to see your honorable presence here, Zhu Guangxi said. Then he looked at Hung Ran and greeted. He was just a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, but he wasn't scared of Hung Ran. Yemo saw this person and sneered. He hadn't looked for this guy's trouble, but this guy dared to come to him. So it's Shui Yun God City, City Lord Zhu. Dong En saluted with his fists. Shui Yun God City Lord was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak Stage Master, who was no weaker than Dong En. Zhu Guangxi was the second City Lord of the city. Nyo Runin's mother quickly bowed to this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor and said, Chenya greet City Lord Zhu. Zhu Guangxi clearly knew Nyo Runin's mother and laughed. Sister Chenya is really getting prettier. Nyo Runin's face looked back. She could tell Zhu Guangxi came here for Yemo and perhaps there was great conflict between them. She didn't want her mother to talk to Zhu Guangxi much, but clearly, their relationship wasn't ordinary. Nyo Chenya seemed to realize Yemo and Zhu Guangxi weren't on good terms and stopped talking. Haha. City Lord Zhu came to my humble residence. Please be high-seated. Hung Ran saluted with his fists. Regardless if Yemo was really strong, he could tell that Zhu Guangxi was here for Yemo. It was best that Zhu Guangxi fought with Yemo and Yemo killed Zhu Guangxi, and then offend the big city lord Lao Jin. Then, Lao Jin would fight with Yemo. After Zhu Guangxi sat down, Hung Ran said intentionally, City Lord Zhu really caught me by surprise coming to my Hung God corner. He was indeed scared by Yemo's origin before. Yemo actually killed Du Ting God sect leader. This news was too shocking, but now that he calmed down, he felt things weren't right. First, Yemo was only Immortal Emperor Cultivation level. Even if Yemo hit his power level, he didn't seem old. No matter how talented he was, there was no way he was Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak Stage. Second, Yemo knew Dong En was Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak Stage. Who knew if Dong En was involved in Wei Xian's death? If they joined up to kill Wei Xian and then announced that Yemo did it, no one would be able to tell. After all, Dong En represented the Great Sun God Mountain, and if a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Elder of the Great Sun God Mountain suddenly killed the sect leader of a god sect, this was no small matter. It would affect the Great Sun God Mountain's reputation. Now that he thought this through, he was no longer scared of Yemo. Even if he used a proper excuse to kill Yemo, Dong En couldn't say anything. Zhu came suddenly this time indeed. I'll apologize first. Zhu Guangxi saw that Dong En was here and immediately changed his plans. He would calm Dong En first. As for Hung Ran, he believed this guy wouldn't stop him. City Lord Zhu, you're too polite. I'm happy that City Lord Zhu is here at my Hung God corner. How can I blame you? Hung Ran said with a face of smile. Zhu Guangxi could see Hung Ran's attitude and he immediately said, I came here to get revenge today. I was set up by this person, but Castle Master Dong and Immortal Friend Hung are both here. This is quite troubling. Zhu Guangxi could tell Hung Ran didn't have any intentions of protecting Yemo. He cared about Dong and laughed. I came here and happened to encounter Immortal Friend Hung. If City Lord Zhu wants to get revenge from someone, then please do. I won't say anything nor intervene. Hung Ran said, even if an elder of the Hung God Corner offended City Lord Zhu, I won't dare to say anything if City Lord Zhu wants to kill. Zhu Guangxi quickly got up and saluted with his fists. Thank you, Castle Master Dong. Thank you, Immortal Friend Hung. He was waiting for this. If it wasn't for the Muhua God Mountain, he could slap Yemo to pieces. Yemo, it took me a long time to find you. I've stationed people out everywhere and now I've finally found you today. I hope you don't disappoint me, Zhu Guangxi said. Hung Ran's face suddenly changed. City Lord Zhu. Immortal Friend Yi is a VIP of our Hung God Corner. Is the person you're looking for Immortal Friend Yi? This. Emo saw Hung Ran's face and felt disgusted. His act was so revolting. Zhu Guangxi frowned. Immortal friend Hung? You agreed before? Are you going to regret now? Hung Ran clenched his fists and sighed after a while. Sigh, never mind. Immortal friend Yi is a VIP of our Hung God Corner. Please? How could Zhu Guangxi not know that Hung Ran was putting on a show? Perhaps this guy wanted Yi Mo dead more than himself. He said calmly, of course. I will take immortal friend Hung into account. Don't worry. Yi Mo, this is someone else's guest hall. It would affect people talking here. Why don't we go out to resolve things? Zhu Guangxi said. What thing are you? How dare you let Tower Master go out? Fu Fei couldn't take it and pointed at Zhu Guangxi's nose and asked. A mere immortal emperor middle stage dares to talk. Zhu Guangxi sneered and grabbed at Fu Fei. Emo suddenly got up and grabbed too. Clap. Zhu Guangxi's punch was slapped by Yemo's palm. Zhu Guangxi retreated a few steps before standing still. He looked at Emo with uncertainty, not knowing what was going on. Zhu, I hate trouble, and although I really wanted to kill you, I didn't want to go find you. I didn't expect you to be so understanding to come to me. In that case, look at my strike. Then Emo hacked Shatterspace down. In that instant, everywhere was filled with this extremely intense lethal force except where Qing Ru and them stood. A twisted sword rune appeared like a poisonous dragon that attacked at Zhu Guangxi. When Zhu Guangxi found that Yemo's twisted sword rune was a top-level god art, the rune already completely locked on to him. Zhu Guangxi knew now that Emo definitely wasn't immortal emperor, but a divine emperor who might even be stronger than him. He released a water light that barely sealed his surroundings. Rumble. Divine emperor domains clashed and Zhu Guangxi's domain crumbled like an egg. Thud. The twisted sword rune fell and sliced across Zhu Guangxi's broken domain and onto his water light. The light was like a bowl that was filled with water and then broken. It exploded everywhere. This was far from the end. Powerful god essence exploded and the palace was turned to pieces by this explosion. A few weaker people of the Hung God Corner was sent flying by the concussion. Hung Wanman was an immortal emperor, but even she spat blood in mid-air. Emo didn't have any environmental protection awareness fighting here. It seemed like he didn't know this palace was destroyed. At the same time, he used Shatterspace Fist Force.